Hey guys, something broke over here. I don't know what. One of our lights is fucking. Oh, it's spooky time.
It's haunted.
Ooh. Well, I mean, the last time we were here, there were ghosts moving things in Sam's cupboards.
That is true.
Was 100% facts.
Either that or it was the squirrel again.
Oh wow! The lightning went off with the evil laugh.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
So spooky.
Squirrel chased Sam.
Just to turn on.
Yeah.
Just to turn on the.
Sam got chased by the fucking squirrel.
So
Spooky.
I was looking at birthday gifts for him for a little bit, and one of the things that I really wanted to get, because you used to find them at gas stations for $20,
Taxidermied squirrel.
a taxidermied squirrel.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you can find it.
Desecrated
somewhere.
that box. I smashed it with my fist.
In all the good ways.
I don't know if you know how taxidermy works,
I
but
don't.
that body's already been desecrated.
I don't know what's inside.
You could have that mono that you made, the Sam figure. You could have had it fighting the squirrel.
Oh, that would have been great.
Put it in the figure 4.
That would have been good. Real good.
But I mean, what's up?
No, I was just gonna make a joke about the figure 4 because I was re-listening to the Behind the Bastards about Vince McMahon. Mm-hmm. There's a joke that made me laugh where they were talking about how wrestling used to be, like you would go up and challenge the champion.
Yeah.
It's like, if that was still around today, I'd be the one dude that, like, my girlfriend gets mad at me because she's like, you're not going to fucking challenge the champ again. Like, nah, I'm going to beat him one of these days. I could just get him on my belly. I'll reverse the figure 4. You don't understand?
There. You got that guy fight.
Yeah.
He's got his back.
How did you end up with a Punisher? That doesn't seem like your kind of hero.
No,
It's exactly his kind of hero.
it's a body test.
He uses guns. In fact, he's probably never held a baseball bat. No.
Punisher. Is that Punisher? Is that true Punisher? Oh, that's what's that, like Vietnam Punisher? I'm not
T-shirt
like
Punisher.
being.
Vietnam.
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
He fought it, no.
Yeah, he fought no. Yeah.
It's so weird to think of that when the Punisher comic started, yes, that was a doable
Yeah.
thing.
was-
Now a Vietnam veteran is what, like 65?
No.
20 in the
70s, 80s.
How old is
18 at the
Sly?
youngest in 1969.
How old is
68?
Stallone? He was the Vietnam vet.
Don't cut back.
Womp.
Sly's like 70, ain't he?
Any minute now
Come
on the
on,
adjust. There we
focus.
go. There's the adjustment.
Oh, there's some dudes that joined at 15 years old.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all.
Dan Bullock joined when he was 15. And he didn't live to the 70s. Oh, that's a bad story.
Agent Orange.
Yeah, the theater made about.
I'm pretty sure he just kind of got.
He just
Oh,
got.
no.
He had been assigned clearing duty. Nope, wasn't mine.
Well, I think of the two, would rather the mine than Agent Orange.
Youngest vet still alive right now is 69.
Nice.
Living large.
Vietnam
Time
joke.
chatter.
First time chatter.
Saw Texas Chainsaw in theaters for its 50th anniversary. Seeing white people get grossed out by a head cheese. As a Mexican, made me laugh.
Nice.
Yeah.
The head cheese part didn't really freak me out. It was just.
I don't know what they're talking about. I haven't seen it.
It was all the
so-
raw meat. Just
It was down the street from where you were.
Wow. I haven't seen the movie, but I don't get the the head cheese comment. I mean, I know what head cheese is, but
Well,
in the context of the movie, I guess I don't know what happened.
for the first like 5, 10, 15 minutes, all they're doing is talking about food. Like they pick up a hitchhiker, and he's just kind of like, oh, like I used to work at a butcher shop, or there's a butchery down the street, and then my brother makes the best head cheese, which is probably an allegory for his brother mutilating people.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's creepy, but I was always kind of like people really worried about head cheese? I mean, what was it? When did that movie come out? 1971, 72? Like, we were like only 3-4 decades removed from like, I'm eating chicken coming out of a can.
Got you. So, Hitchhiker describes a process of making head cheese. Got you. Okay. Yeah. Don't know. But, or I do know process of making head cheese. Didn't know that that's the context of that.
Yeah. And then they get to the gas station and like, he's like, we got the best barbecue. And you find out like at the end of the movie, it's like, oh no, it's people.
Yeah. Yeah. Get it.
The house is a restaurant now.
I've heard that.
Oh, yeah.
What
Serving what?
people?
Head cheese for sure.
I don't know. We could probably. I definitely had friends like
Burgers.
went burgers.
Yeah, like Bob's Burgers. That was the pilot. That was the original pilot.
That's right. That was the original pilot. That they were like assumed to be
Dead
selling
people.
the dead people from what's his name? Mort's. Yeah, next door.
Mort's Mortuary.
Yeah, Mort's Mortuary. Yeah, that's fucking great. Love it.
I'm still super into Bob's Burgers, but they know like to minimize it a little bit.
Yeah, I've not caught up. I don't know what season they're on, but Bob's Burgers, Archer, and Rick and Morty are like my top 3 favorite. Like semi-adult, semi-family oriented like cartoons.
That's like my go-to thing to watch, like when I want to just put something on and I'm vacuuming. So I would be
100%.
pretty hard for me to make a top 3, honestly.
I love it. Because you can do that, but then you can also just sit down and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of it is deeper than others, for sure. I'm trying to think what my top 3 would be off the top of my head. If you just don't include anime, you put that in a different box.
That's completely different.
A completely different
Yeah.
box. Then I really liked Fired on Mars just because I watched it after I was fired, and I was just kind of like, this makes me feel not as bad about my life.
I don't know what cartoon that is, but I feel
It was on.
I know those shows.
It was on Max, but they didn't promote it super heavily. It looks like a Mike Judge cartoon, but it's not. Like, I think the guy worked under Mike Judge for a little bit. The guy that came up with it, but I could be wrong.
I mean, just put it this way: they go to this dude goes to Mars as a graphic designer, and then they're like, "Hey, bro, we just found out we're gonna just use photo like AI to do it, and so you're fired." But you're on Mars, so you have no way of going home.
Like, yeah, he's just stuck there.
Cool. And it's actually not a comedy. Like, it is legitimately him dealing with mental issues and being, like, trying to find his footing. And then, like, I think it's like the 3rd episode, like, his girlfriend was cheating on him the entire time.
Jesus Christ, what kind of cartoon is this?
When after you get fired, watching somebody like, well,
at least I'm not stuck on fucking Mars like
That asshole. Well, I hope I'm not fired. Still awesome whiskey, baby.
Final Space would be another adult cartoon that I like a lot.
Damn, I don't know any of these motherfuckers, and they all have to do with space. What's going on here?
I mean, I guess
You're
I'm a sci-fi kid is the best
That's
way I can put it.
fair.
And also, there's no Western adult cartoons that I can think of right now.
Would Archer technically kind of? Where's Archer fit in there? I guess just like a 60s,
It's
right?
just an
This is a
action.
60 cartoon. Okay, never mind.
I do like Archer, but I mean, Final Space was really cool because it did come from nowhere. It was actually, I think, of all places, it ended up on TBS.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, TBS was going to try to do its own adult block. So they had Final Space, they had Close Enough, and they had a third one, but I forgot what the.
Close Enough would actually be my number 3.
Close Enough is really good.
Don't know that one either. What the fuck is going on here?
Well, like I said,
I
they
know,
own-
like, because Archer was on TBS, right? For a little
Yeah.
bit? Yeah, that's the only one I know.
FX.
Yes.
Archer was on FX, yeah.
Yes.
Then they
you're
put
right.
another
I
X in
stand
there.
corrected.
FXXX.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll stick to the classics. As shitty as those, 20 or so seasons in between were, The Simpsons is good again.
I thought you meant FX, and I was like, I'm having fun watching the Aaron Hernandez show. That's about it. Right
Oh,
now.
okay.
Even the bad.
Dog, have y'all seen that Gronk comparison?
Yeah.
So good. And then did y'all see how somebody, I think it was Mina Kimes, interviewed Gronk?
Yeah.
And Gronk actually told her, like, yeah, the guy who plays him in the show is actually a really good friend of his.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, yeah. And so he just like, he overdid it and he overplayed it. And it was like over the top. And he's like, but he's a great guy. He's like a friend of mine. But he's an asshole because he did that shit for me. I was like, cool.
Have you met the coach yet, bro?
Yeah.
Fucking scary, man.
Dude, that's Tom Brady. Get fucking hype, bro. Dog, so
That's
fucking-
wrestler Gronk. That's
Yeah.
that's the gimmick Vince wanted to give. Is Vince directing the show?
Well, I mean, I forgot who I was talking to. Oh, it was Juan, and he was like, "I want to watch it to see how accurate it is." And I was like, "I guess I should start watching it with JJ because JJ doesn't really follow football, but he knows Aaron Hernandez because he saw the crime documentary about his life."
Okay.
Somebody killed someone. I'll know about it.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
We're gonna sick him on the serial killer that's drowning people at Lady Bird.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
The Happy Face murders. That one's been around
Oh,
for
yeah,
a while.
that's right. They do call him the Happy Face Murder. I didn't hear so I don't remember. There's somebody who does a great, like, 3-4 hour, like, podcast episode on it, but he does, like, spooky, scary, and, like, whatever podcasts. And he did an episode on the Rainy Street Ripper, or the Rainy Ripper.
Well, there's nowhere to hang out on Rainy Street now, so it's got to be harder.
Yeah, so, but, yeah.
Dragging a
he's-
body from East 6.
Yeah, exactly. But he did like a great fucking like commentary and interview and whatnot. And he said at the beginning, he's like, if you watch this all the way through and conclude that there's no like possible way that there's a serial killer, he was like, then you should probably like check your own kind of like, I guess like, yeah, biases or common sense. Cause it was like, bro, this shit wild. Like for fucking real.
I mean, one of my coworkers is a cop, and he was telling me straight up, he's like, I don't think it's true. I just think it's drunk people being attracted to water, which I have seen.
That does happen.
It does happen, but at the frequency in which that is going on and the, like, I'll say this. If you are from Austin, and especially if you, which it's not too like far-fetched, but if you're from, like originally from Rainy Street, because Rainy Street was a neighborhood, and I know people who used to live on Rainy Street,
Oh, you'd know how to get in. And
yeah,
out of it.
but at the same time, not just know how to get in and out of it, but you would know that the way to get there and back is near impossible if you're not fluent with the area and if you're drunk. Like, you can't, it's not viable. It just doesn't make sense. So, I don't know.
Well, here's as far as I go in murder. It was the movie Crash, where he was just kind of like, they beat someone up and took their car, and he's like, you know what? You ever watch NCIS or whatever? And it's like, they come here and they shine a black light, and then they find my DNA, and I go to jail. So get this car the fuck out of here. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not smart enough to not know how to not leave my DNA or fingerprints on something, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nah, like it's gonna happen. You're gonna drop your DNA.
Yeah.
I leave mine all over the place. You've seen the floor of our. But that's why crime of opportunity is the way to go. Not advocating murder,
I was going to say, oh,
but I'm saying if you're gonna do it, crime of opportunity is the way.
Well, I mean, I have heard like the murders on Rainy Street. If you like follow the theory, is that they drugged someone before. Like I've heard a couple of stories. I don't know if they're true. They are, but people were like, "I was really fucked up, and I had 2 drinks. That should not be the case." And I was just kind of
Well, so that was the thing is that so some of the cases that were like the guy had families who interviewed, like they had the receipts and the bank statements of that night, and it's like the person who they found unfortunately like deceased was like only paid for 2 drinks or a drink or didn't pay for anything, and you see them coming out of the bar like stumbling, and it's like also the other thing was that for at least like 2 or 3 of them, like these were men who were like 6'2", 200 something pounds. Like it's not exactly possible to get like blitzed, stumbling drunk off of 2, let alone 1 potential drink. So yeah, it could be someone's drugging them or the killer's buying them drinks, which would automatically set off red flags for me, because like nobody fucking buys me drinks. Who the fuck is you?
I buy you drinks on Sunday.
Yeah, but you're not gonna kill me.
No.
Oh well, no.
Or the other thing.
Maybe it's the other thing.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and start the podcast now.
I hate the fucking Chargers so much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marco. Welcome to the Más o Menos podcast. But I'm not alone here today. Across from me in the horns up, hating, I don't know, I guess probably
What?
Georgia and San Diego, well, Los Angeles Chargers this week.
Yeah.
This is where you say your name.
Oh yeah. No, I was getting there, and then you just. No, it's okay. Oh. No, Emiliano Guajardo, aka El Whiskylero.
And next to him,
I think the Ripper might work at QT because. Dang. I'm JJ.
well, we started this pre-show talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre because first time chatter, the South Sibs had saw it for the, I don't know if it was the first time, but he definitely mentioned
50th anniversary.
I didn't know it was the 50th anniversary. That's kind of cool that we watched it on that. On that
Maybe I
note,
should have gone.
the hot dogs, I liked them. Everybody else was like, yeah, they're okay.
I had just ate those. That's me.
What was in the hot dogs?
It was like
Head
Oaxacan cheese, jalapenos, and then ketchup.
Head cheese?
No head cheese.
Oh, okay.
It also cost, I think, $8. That might have been the only
God
problem.
damn! The fuck?
How big was this hot dog? Were they foot?
It was a normal hot dog.
Normal hot dog.
What the fuck?
Thanks.
But what are some of your favorite scary movies, Emiliano?
The one that always comes to mind is It. I mean, the original It, though. Like,
Tim Curry?
yeah, the Tim Curry, so fucking good. Come here, fat boy. I think that one. I'll tell you what, the one. So I enjoy scary movies. I've not always been a huge like follower of like horror films, for no particular reason. It's just like not the first thing that I go to. I will just for like a quick honorable mention, the scariest game that I've ever played was Outlast.
Outlast.
That shit was scary. That was it was a game that when it came out, we were still like relatively young. It was like I think we were in college, or I was in college, and so like my siblings and cousins were all like a little bit younger, and so we would get together over the summer and we would just play. Like they would watch me play for like hours, and it was just like it was pretty much like its own like horror movie. But that shit was scary. But yeah, I think like horror movie right off the bat is probably It. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
That kind of makes you a man of substance because my answers are not that good most of the time. In the sense that like it has
Yours isn't that good. Mine was going to be Halloween 2. And even the director hates that one.
Well, I may have an answer. here.
Alien versus Predator. I'm just kidding.
That's a straight up action movie. But I mean, the chat's already arguing about it. Like, I watched The Substance, don't know if it's a horror movie. JJ saw that one.
I wouldn't call it a horror movie either. At the end, it becomes the Toxic Avenger.
Fair.
Did you watch it? Do you know what it's about?
I think I know what it's about.
I think I know what it's about.
I was gonna say if it's the one that I'm thinking of, then I think it is.
People trying to lose weight to get this body cream.
Yes. Okay.
and then,
Yes. Yeah.
It's not even lose weight. It's Demi Moore's like, I want to be hotter.
What-
Like,
what's
and
the-
everyone else
wait.
in the theater is like, you're Demi Moore.
What? Yeah, that's also fucking true. What's the fucking show? It wasn't Black Mirror. At least I don't think it was Black
It
Mirror.
might have been Black Mirror.
Might have been Black Mirror.
Love, Sex, and Robots.
Well, no. So there's the one where no, it's fucking oh my god, original Hellboy director.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
Oh,
the Cabinet of
Orphanage?
Curiosities. That one.
Yeah.
And it's got
I
the
fucking love that show.
oh, bro, so good. But I think that's also another one as far as like at least film, because it's not exactly like movie, right? But film goes, like a scary kind of series, miniseries, where, because again, it's kind of same concept. It's the girl who always kind of played like the dorky, like really bug eye, and she like puts the like cream on and it's giving her a rash.
yeah.
And then by the end of the show, she's a taxidermist. Speaking of Sam, no, yeah. And then by the end, she like peels her skin off and she becomes like the prettiest woman in like the town, but she had like killed her husband over it, and she taxidermied him, and he just like fucking sat there watching TV. But that's another one that I think is like really top notch for like horror-esque kind of film. Because I think one episode was the Rat King. That was also a really good one that he did, and then. Oh my god! Now I'm thinking of them. VHS. I love the VHS,
VHS?
bro.
So
Love
you just
the
fucking love
VHS.
anthologies, is what it comes down to.
Yeah. VHS is
ABCs
one of the
Death
fucking great
is another
ones.
one.
Which one?
ABCs of Death. Have you seen? So that one's an anthology where it's all like a bunch of really short films, and
Okay.
they give every director a letter, and like
Oh.
some of them are really good.
I was gonna say
it's
I've
like,
probably seen some, but I've not.
Like, I got B. B is easy. Bloody bones. Like lots of creepy words start with B. But if you got like saddled with X, like, or Z, like what in the fuck are you gonna do?
I was like, because Rakeem is just bringing up that he just rewatched the original Scream. I was like, somebody just said it was Sam. Sam watched Scream for the first time this year or something like that. He doesn't do horror movies. That's not his thing.
I also don't blame him. Scream, like,
He loved it. He thought it was like one of the
Really?
best written.
I don't like Scream. I think it's boring.
He thought that it was really funny how like pitiful Matthew Lillard is like, you're gonna call my mom.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, man. So my wife loves Scream, and she's like die hard over Scream.
Yeah.
So she has a very interesting history with like horror movies and whatnot. She grew up watching them with her mom because her mom from Mexico like just thought that horror movies were funny because it was like always like over exaggerated, the gore, the blood, etc., whatever. And so she grew up watching like Halloween as like a child, like the Freddy Kruegers as a child, like the Scream movies as a child. And so like she just has no real kind of like fear to them. She just thinks they're more like interesting and funny. Just because again, it's always like over exaggerated, like the fucking like the last girl gimmick, the the Scream and like the geek who always dies first gimmick. And so like she just loves seeing these movies and it's just interesting. But yeah, she's
Well, it's kind of
All
funny.
into that.
So I tried to make this a smart episode, and then
Then
us
two.
Then we did a little bit of research and was like, "There's no data on this," and so
I can't explain it, bro.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is. My dad just liked to rent those movies, and so here we are.
So now it's like a regular, like, we're just going to chill. There's no numbers and facts to any of this. But I think you did hit on some part, because this whole episode is why do Mexicans like spooky shit? Because they fucking love it in general. They fit it into almost every holiday that they can.
I can't tell you how many baby cousins I've had that go for their first Halloween, Chucky.
Bro, okay. So not exactly that, but like also just so, and it's crazy because I think like, so I don't know if it's because like we grew up, and we actually kind of talked about this semi-culturally, like last time I was on the podcast, but I don't know if it's because I grew up predominantly in like kind of like African American neighborhoods and whatnot, that like we didn't exactly like grow up with like my family didn't grow up exactly with the scary kind of like movie following or like interested in like the spooky or whatever. We still did like the Halloween whatever, but like everybody kind of does that, especially like Austin and whatnot. But as far as like the interesting and like the horror or whatever, like that shit. So my wife has already given to my kids, because my kids like are all gun ho about like they love Hocus Pocus, they love the Nightmare Before Christmas, they love Beetlejuice, like, and there's some like questionably like fucking weird and creepy shit in all of those movies, and they just like love them. My daughter loves them, and then of course I'm picking up my daughter yesterday from school. And we're driving home, and where we live close to the Texas State Cemetery. Yeah. And she asks me in Spanish, but in English, she goes, you know, Papa, what happens like to us when we just like they go and bury us under the ground like that and blah blah. And I'm just like, what are we doing, dude? Like, fuck, where did you get this shit? But she was just like, and she's like, you know, I think when that happens, it'd be really like sweet and like kind and or like calming, and you know, you get to go to sleep finally forever. And I'm just like, where the fuck did this come from? I'm like, God damn it, Stephanie. But I know, like,
I think it's just in our DNA.
Of course, no, it is. I think it is also just kind of like ancestrally, kind of like we get into like metaphysics and whatnot. But
that's something that Guillermo del Toro hits on a lot every time they interview him.
Yes, please, I'll let you say it. Yes, because I love it.
They'll constantly ask him like, how do you balance, you know, like the horror, or they'll ask him like, all of your movies seem to have like this unique relationship with death, and like how is it that you come to that perspective, or like how do you go about it? And he's like, I'm Mexican.
Mexicans live strong and die, you know, die kind or die sweetly or whatever he says. But like, he's got, you know, he says Mexicans have there's a sweet relationship with like death, and we know that it's always gonna come, so we live like life to the fullest.
Yeah, and there's a poem that he really likes. I forget the author, but the poem is basically like, all my life I heard a tiny whisper behind my ear going, live, live, live. That voice was death. Telling me to live.
Yeah.
I do have a scene from the episode that you were talking about. Curiosities. But I love that show. Guillermo del Toro, I think we had like a fun podcast that was like top 5 Mexican Americans for Hispanic heritage. This was years ago, and Guillermo del Toro was on mine.
Was it years ago? I could have sworn it was maybe last year.
Maybe it was last year.
Because
I'm so bad at like everything. Everything past COVID is like last week, honestly. So when I say a couple of years ago, that's just me being safe. Like,
that's fair. I get you. Yeah.
And honestly, COVID was 4 years ago. So like, it's
that blows my mind.
No, COVID was 4 years ago.
I thought that was yesterday.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Just 4 years ago, we were wearing masks and like not knowing when we'd see our homies again, and doing weird things like playing Jackbox through.
Don't know what Jackbox is, but
Jackbox is that like PS4.
It's like a party game that you play on your phone.
It's a bunch of mini games, and you play it on your phone. But like the one that everyone likes is Quiplash. And that one you just like it'll give you a topic and you make a joke about the topic or you say something like funny about it. And then it'll put two people up against each other and like this is what he answered and this is what they answered. Vote for your favorite. Blah blah.
Oh.
So at my job, they were like, for everyone's mental health, we're gonna get together and play games. And I was like, you realize there's no such thing as a like 20-person game. We're gonna be dividing up into groups and everyone's gonna play Jackbox in their own room. We're like, oh god damn it, I fucking hate Jackbox.
Okay.
Like towards the end of it, I was like, guys, my phone's dead. Like I don't know what happened. I'm waiting on Samsung to send me a new one. I can't play, so like. Cool.
I have a brick.
I'm playing Tekken on the PlayStation. Like, nah, it's cool, guys. Have fun without me. I'll just be part of the audience. Ah, that was funny. Puta madre.
I do like the murder trivia game too, but it is kind of one of those things where I do understand when it was the default for a lot of people that just kind of got tired of it. So I guess that's JJ's like horror life that he doesn't want to go back to. But I would say my favorite of all horror movies is probably The Thing.
The Thing.
Damn, bro. Yeah, Thing's really good.
That one's I like monster movies is what it comes down to, and it's funny because as a kid we did grow up like. This is the next question that I'm going to ask you guys, but it was just kind of like, when did your parents let you watch your first horror movie? And then it's just like, honestly, I think the answer is always. I don't think there was ever a point where they were like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
They were just kind of like, we're going to watch Jurassic Park, and I hope you all have.
Oh, I wanted to watch Jurassic Park.
No, we definitely wanted to watch Jurassic Park in my house. That's as far as like. Letting us? That's an interesting question, man.
I was the one that bowed out. Like I remember, I had already been shown horror movies by my parents.
Yeah,
I just didn't remember like seeing them. But then my dad and my mom were like, "We're gonna watch Chucky tonight." So, and I was like, "What the hell's Chucky?" It's about a toy that kills people. I have lots of toys.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is my parents didn't give a fuck, but because that the first Chucky is based on so much suspense,
yeah,
and I have a childlike attention span, the first one didn't do anything for me, and the first one I remember.
No, the premise alone was enough for me to be like, I'm gonna be in y'all's room tonight, and like when there's commercials or you can pause, can you
look at Badgie showing off? Hola, returning from a threesome again.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he does that. He likes to party. But no. When it comes back to Chucky, like the first one that is actually like it builds up and the horror, like it's a really good horror movie, does nothing for me. The one that scared me as a child is like Child's Play 3.
Oh, the one where he's in the ROTC?
When he's in the ROTC killing kids.
I don't think I've seen that Chucky.
Yeah.
What?
Is it the first kid again? I think it's the first kid again. Only now it's like some time has gone by, so he's like in high school. And he's in like, yeah, he goes to like a military academy or something. And Chucky's like, I want to fucking kill this kid.
Interesting. I don't remember that at all. Huh.
I remember the open. Is that the one where like Chucky's blood falls in the vat of plastic and then the doll like shapes itself? Or is that two?
They're shooting blanks at each other, and then he figures out or Chucky figures out how to make grenades.
Wow, I've never seen this. Holy shit! The only Chucky's
There's a carnival too. Like it's fucking weird.
Yeah, the only Chucky's I think I've seen are like the OG, and then there's like the one where I think he kills the girl, right? Who becomes his bride, and then there's Chucky's bride, and then there's...
You're talking about the newest ones. This was like this Child's Play 3 is like 1992. Like the way that my parents showed it to me, it was like, we're gonna watch Three Ninjas for you, then we're gonna watch Child's Play 3 for us, and because the ones you're talking about, I saw as like not a teenager. It came out like when I was 12, but The Bride of Chucky is like that came out like 2002, 2003. Huh. And then the child of Chucky, never saw that one because I was
saw the child. Chucky. Okay, all right, cool. Then we're on
Chucky.
different.
Seed of Chucky. That's what it is.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't know. When I saw the Bride
El
of Chucky, I was
primer
like,
impacto
I think
was
that
basically Mexican lively.
That's right. That's pretty true. Facts.
I mean, there's an element that isn't covered very much but it is when you grow up on the border, where it's just going to be like, oh man, unfortunately, a undocumented immigrant passed away like yesterday trying to cross the train tracks, and then the paper from BLS would be like, hey bro, want to see his hands?
Yeah. Or like his head.
And
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then there's a half naked chick on the bottom corner, like, I'm confused. Wires are being crossed.
Yeah. Wires that should not be crossed are being crossed. Don't cross the streams. Kind of, My parents don't care.
I'm the same way. My mother would let me watch Tales from the Hood at 5 years old. I'm still terrified of David Allen Greer's character to this day.
What was an early one that I remember watching?
Well, all right. Am I I am dyslexic. I don't know what the fuck Bat G is trying to say. I always so short. I thought I would. What? Am I reading that wrong? Or
Oh, he thought that because he was small that he could.
Like,
he had a
he
good
could
chance.
box
He could
Chucky.
box Chucky.
oh, well, okay.
I don't know if you've seen that first one. Grown ass woman tries to box Chucky. It doesn't work out so well.
I think I also saw The Bride of Chucky at like a curious age because I was like,
Oh yeah, Jennifer Tilly did
Yeah.
things to me.
can get it, can get it, still can.
Well, you know what the funny thing about
Yeah.
Jennifer Tilly, like of all the things, she was very attractive. Her bosoms were bosoming that day, but her voice, just the way she would be, like, like I remember her watching
and
her being in.
natural voice.
Yeah.
Her natural voice. I was like, even at that age, I was just like, you're doing it for the character, cool. And then it wasn't it wasn't
it's just
until
what I
I think post COVID that I found out that was her actual voice, and I was like, okay, cool. It's even more, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, to be
Not
honest,
less, yeah, more, yeah.
not a deal breaker. That's a bonus.
Yeah. The bonus. You're not trying for me, baby. It's just all natural.
Maybe you should get some rubber, baby. I'm made of rubber. And I think I was like 12 when I watched this movie, and I was like, all right, whatever. But I mean, at that point, I had friends that were 100% of the mindset that was like, we're teenagers already. We're gonna fuck. And then it was just like hold hands with girls. And
I remember, so 12 is what, 6th or 7th grade?
7th grade.
7th grade? Really? What?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I remember our 6th grade, we did a camping trip. And so on the camping trip, so I found this out like when we got back from the camping trip. But one of my friends, shout out Nathan Jordan, he's getting married this weekend, and we're going to fucking throw down. So he goes and he tells me, he's like, hey, so-and-so wanted to have sex with like so-and-so during the camping trip. And he was like, well, I was like, so what happened? And he was like, oh, well, so-and-so like says, oh yeah, I'm going to go have sex with blah, blah, blah. So how do I have sex? Do you think like do I like put it in and pee or something? It was like
It's like South Park.
yeah, it's like
Just stick it in your butt and pee a little, and then
so and nothing ever happened because
This is now a
Again.
Sexlence episode.
nothing ever happened because we're 6th graders.
stick it in
and
her butt and pee. Well, yeah, I mean, unless you don't want to get her pregnant, then you pull out and you pee on her leg or something.
It's like Family Guy where Stewie drinks a whole bunch of glasses of water, so it's like it looks so big, like, but it's still like a baby penis. But my parents always had like a big interest in monster movies, is the best way I can put it. Like my family was kind of assholes, and they used to scare me a lot as a kid, which I think is normal for everyone.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That might be why we like spooky shit.
Yeah.
That's interesting. again,
Your dad never put on a werewolf mask and
Bro.
like look at your window.
no. So again,
Hey, Bart, check out my new chainsaw.
no. So again, I think my mom like. I mean, my mom's not white and was never grown against white, so I don't know how to say it's like not whitewashed, but like just like culturally washed my dad, because like when my dad's like from Mexico, and like we never did any of that. But then going back to the valley, the real valley, I'm sorry, going back to the valley, we would go and like. That was the thing that all of my tios would do. Yeah. And all of my tios, his brothers, would just be like that's their thing, especially around like holiday season, coming either fresh off or going into Halloween. Like they would do this like the whole like, oh, lights are off in the house, and we're getting back from like Abuelita's house. It's like, oh, where's the lights? Where's the lights? Turn them on. And it's like, like the whole. I don't know what happened, but like we didn't get that over here. But again, going back to the valley, like that was like a thing. And then what?
Yeah, we're assholes.
Well, so the day that told me I should not do this, and specifically to my dad, was when I was in 7th grade, and we were like doing complete remodel and rebuild on like portion of the house. And we had a like brand new bed that we had gotten that was like completely blocking off the door or the like entryway to the new bathroom. And we were doing that because we didn't have a door to the bathroom. So he like did that. But once you would turn off the light to the bathroom, there was no light past that into the closet and the main bedroom until you got into the kitchen. So I hid behind this huge mattress that is like a king size mattress. And like when my dad went to like move it back, I jumped out and he was like, "Hey, gonna puta madre!" And he's like swinging at this like mattress. And I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like 7th grade. I was like, "Oh, puppy, like I'm sorry." And he's like, "Damn it!" And that was like the first time, like, and I mean, damn, it's not like a bad word, right? But like, that was the first time I ever heard my dad say like anything like off color to me, and I was like, "Oh shit, never again." But yeah,
I remember as a kid, like when my brother was very little, like I don't know, 2 or something, turning off the lights would scare him.
yeah.
So, like, I would do that.
Good old, are you afraid of the dark?
Yeah, no, like, I would do that to him, like, as a funny, like, but I wouldn't, like, leave the lights off. I would, like, quickly flick the light off and flick it on. And until he was, like, 13, I kept doing that. Like, every time I would go into his room, I'd just be like, and leave.
No, my parents did that all the time. My cousins did that. Well, my dad was a truck driver, and then my mom just randomly worked nights. She was in charge of IT for the state. Like, basically, she would help take care of the computers, which is funny now because it's just like she can't do email. But at that point, she was in charge of fixing everything. I guess Windows 94 is just a little bit easier to deal with. But so she would go nights to fix the system or whatever it would be, and my cousins would take care of me, and they would do all sorts of shit to fuck with me because I was the baby of the family. It was my sister probably popped out about what I was for, but it was just kind of like, we're gonna fuck with my cousin. So they would do things like I would walk down the hall, they would push me in the closet and then throw a cockroach in the the entire time it was one of those flying bitches, so it would just be
Yeah, it would just...
and it was dark and I just couldn't see shit, and just me in this closet.
Like an actual cockroach?
Yeah.
What?
They picked it up by the wings and shit, and then just kind of
They knew how to throw them, bro.
Fucking slinging arrows over here, just like. And also, fucking terrifying thing. Have y'all seen house centipedes?
House centipedes?
Bro.
Regular centipedes already freak me out. You mean to tell me there's one the size of a house?
So there's okay. So house centipedes. I just learned this recently.
Oh yeah, no, these are cool,
bro. No, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
fucking
they eat cockroaches.
Yes,
yeah.
but look at them and my ass. Tell them fucking,
Yeah, I would.
dude, these are cool. Fuck yeah. I'm sorry. No, fuck.
Somebody's feet.
Yeah, no, my ass, they're cool. Yeah.
Bro, my rules are simple. Do you kill the thing that my cousins...
It's mostly true until you show me that. Yeah.
Just get a cat. A cat kills cockroaches. It'll kill whatever gets in its path.
I don't even trust a cat to kill a mouse. Like that, I've seen too many TikToks of the cat just staring at it.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
They like to play with their prey.
Yeah.
Cats are serial killers.
Cats are serial killers.
Yeah, it is kind of really funny when you really understand the cat owning culture, and it's just like, oh yeah, cats are number 2 or 3 reason why there's so many endangered birds.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So we had
House cats are like the most effective predator on Earth.
Yeah.
well, I don't know if I've told it here, but there's gangs of cats in Hawaii. Oh, bro, and it's terrifying because it's like house cats, like stereotypical whatever calico, whatever blah 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 looking house cats, but there will always be one that comes. And then there's like always 12 or 14 more that come after that, and they'll gang up and like attack people because they're just like wanting whatever like kind of food or things that they have that they can eat, and it's because they've killed essentially everything that they can eat, and so it's terrifying. And
Baby Billy, go get that guy over there that just came out with the wings from
so they attack people, especially who have like plastic bags, because they figured that like plastic bag means groceries, and it's insane. But
So just one quick thing. How often are you on TikTok, Emiliano?
not super often, mostly because I get most of the TikTok people who I did follow on Instagram, so not super often
That's
anymore.
fair, but you miss out on like cancel waves and things like that, or it's just like, I don't even care about this, but I'm gonna some of the things.
Yeah, trends and I get you.
So, are you aware of Maxwell the cat? Thing. So there's a owner that owns a cat, and he sticks a GoPro to it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and they found out, and they found out he was just beating the shit out of other cats in the neighborhood.
What the fuck?
And then he's been doing it for weeks now, and he just uploads the footage. It's like, this is what my cat did today, just beat up 3 cats. And then they were just kind of like, I think we need to cancel this dude. Like, this is. He's using
Cancel my cat.
Yeah, he's using his cat as a Pokemon.
No, we can't cancel him. We need to make him a gym badge. Yeah, and he chases the fucker down. Like, you came to the wrong neighborhood, punk.
Get over here, bitch. I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, bro, cats are mean. We have a nice
13th Street Paws over here, motherfucker. Damn.
So, las minas, güey.
That's good. Damn, bro. That's wild. That's wild.
Well, part 2 to the original question that I'd asked, because I do understand that, like, I feel like our parents didn't give a fuck, but it also just is like, you add one generation. My grandpa was literally a sheriff shooting outlaws and, like, killing animals every other day, probably to feed the family. Like, I think that kind of played a role to my parents just being like, well, it's fake. That there's not a giant crocodile in the sewers that's going to eat you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other part of, like, or I guess, like, the caveat to, like, Mexicanos especially, but really a lot of, like, Latinos having, like, this, like, glorified interest in either gore or horror or death or whatnot. I mean, honestly, it just comes from, like, the realistic horrors that we, like, see and are only, like, I say separated generation, but in some aspects and circumstances where like our generation is still living certain things, whether it not be us in the U.S. because we live to an extent a privileged life, but also like cousins and peoples out in other countries and portions of the continent and world, but a lot of that comes, or a lot of that again, horror Hollywood kind of death interest or storytelling comes from, again, that part of the livelihood. You live certain way of living, you kill animals, you hunt down people, you are hunted, or you fight to the death, or you fight through these overnight exhausting horrors that you hallucinate, or you see, or you hear, or whatever. And again, you get into like metaphysical, spiritual kind of like aspects of life, and you hear the ancestors, you hear, grandparents who are passed, you hear family members who've, already lived certain lives and whatnot. And, I mean, my abuelos lived like both my, oh, holy shit! I thought you were playing something or what? Outside. Oh no!
Somebody racing on the side.
All right. Oh no! But speaking of spooky, both my abuelos like lived very different, but very traumatizing to an extent lives, and like came up to where they were now. But yeah, it's just, I think that's part of the caveat of all this is that we carry this history that just connects us to death.
It's probably not great to compare most of the time, but I just do feel to a degree that like I do think that like white people generally kind of love spooky shit, but I mean it's not a thing in like African American culture kind of to the extent that it is for Mexican American culture, and they have probably a way more horrific history, just in the sense of you count chattel slavery and segregation and things like that. Like, I mean, I can't say that we have a horror icon, but we do tell a lot of stories.
La Llorona.
Well, I meant like Guillermo del Toro. We
don't have a Candyman.
We don't have a Candyman, but
thank you.
There's also an aspect that Candyman is also kind of like. They get Candyman and then like Snoop Dogg as Bone and like,
but they still tell like very connected story because Candyman was like based off of like a former enslaved person, you know. So he's telling that story. I think it
connects to their culture in a different way than it connects to ours.
That's
Correct.
That's kind of what I wanted to say with it. With still being respectful. Honestly.
Yeah, and I think it's just like the different way in which we see and have connected and also created different culture. Unfortunately, Mexicanos and indigenous peoples included, a lot of us, and specifically African American peoples, have been separated, like complete severance from like their own ancestral kind of community and cultures that they have created now their own kind of like Black American culture. And so that's what we talk about, like the African American diaspora, the African American like linguistics and whatnot. And so it becomes this complete different own community, culture, and history that they can tell and they can do and write and choose who is and who isn't a part in their own right. So because of that, they have their own relationship with the horror, with the death, that I think specifically are now kind of coming into fold in the storytelling that we see with ¿cómo se llama? Get Out, exactly.
They have a
oh my god, what's his name?
There's a slew of black horror directors.
Jordan Peele.
Yeah, there's a slew of black horror directors in the last 5 to 8 years that I'm just kind of like, that is amazing storytelling, and I don't know.
And it's all so I think because we're all peoples of like the struggle, we as Mexicanos and Latinos can connect to it, but we very much so need to also understand like this is being told from a black historical and like black like lens. So again, I think that's why they have like their own relationship to it, and they can again tell their own story, and we should never speak upon like their own say. But I think that's where that kind of like, I wouldn't say separation, but where that kind of like road takes its own turns. And so, you know, Mexicanos, we have a good chunk of us have a more historical blood kind of connection to the land and direct connection ancestrally to the histories of what's happened in this country and in this continent and this portion of the hemisphere where it comes to struggle. And a lot of those stories continue getting passed down through generations that we can say and we can hear and we can remember what was told 4 generations ago. And so those stories just keep on getting told and then, you know, get written down in mythos.
I will say, just randomly on that note, usually one of the big things that I always latch onto in a lot of movies is the immigrant experience. So when I watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, and the mom's like,
still have not fucking seen it.
It's really good.
I need to.
It's
I
really
know.
good.
I need to. And it's not for any reason. I just haven't made the time.
I mean, it is long. It's like 2.5, 2 hours and 40 minutes, 2 hours 30, something like that.
That's so. I think that's the only.
It's the kind of movie where you're like, I ain't got shit to do. I'm gonna order me like a thin and crispy and just.
But I also know you sit around waiting for an oven to hit a certain temperature. So.
See, I think that is so. The only issue that I see with that movie also is the same issue that I see with the Irishman, right? Or the right,
The
Irishman.
Irishman.
Yeah, the Irishman. I think. Yeah, is that I heard great things about it. I missed it on the first go around because it came out.
You're talking about like the mob Irish movie?
Was it the one with De Niro? Right?
Yeah,
I think
it's not great.
Really, I heard phenomenal things about it, but it was like almost a 3-hour movie.
Read the book.
I didn't know there was a book on it, but okay. Either way.
It's a really long. I actually think that one's 4 hours.
I knew about the.
Damn. Yeah, you have to be like Zack Snyder edit version of Justice League good for me to be interested
You
in
mean
it.
this one, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
It's like 4 hours long.
It's not.
Wow.
Great. It focuses on a lot of the boring parts of the.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah,
Maybe I won't watch it then.
The book it's based off of is called "I Heard You Like to Paint Houses," and that's apparently mob code for you kill people.
Look at that runtime.
Ooh. Yeah, it's mob code for you kill people, and then Frank.
You have to clean them up.
Yeah, Frank
Yeah.
the Irishman Sheeran. His response was like, "I do my own carpentry too," and that means that he also disposes of the bodies. He's like, "I'm 2 for 1, baby. You who you need dead." But it focuses a lot on his friendship with who's the Teamsters guy that disappeared.
Alfred. Oh, Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah, it focuses a lot on his friendship with Jimmy Hoffa and like, yeah.
So is this based on true?
It's questionable. It's really.
Serenity's like, just read the comic Lady Killer.
It's on real shaky ground, bro. Like when I heard about the book, I was like, oh man, like yeah, I want to read this. And
You read the book.
I read the book, and there's a part where he's like talking about the JFK assassination. And he's like, "Look, I don't know who did it. I don't know whose job it was, but I do remember leaving 2 rifles." And I was like, "All right, bro. Like, you're shitting me. Like,
Okay.
he got no scoped, man. Like, give Lee Harvey Oswald his credit." Like,
I will say, well, what I was going to say is, like, I do normally relate to the immigrant experience. Like, watching the grandpa that doesn't speak, like, any English at all. This is a Chinese movie, or at least told from a Chinese perspective. The mom is struggling to deal with the Americanized daughter and
keep the business afloat.
keep the business afloat. And then there's still the aspect of, like, she's just overly blunt because she probably learned English probably really late in life, so she's just like, she's trying to be nice and take care of his daughter, but her way of doing it is just like, hey, you're fat. And I'm just kind of like, all those things I've seen my parents do, and I can kind of relate to it as that. But I say all that to say this, that man, I don't know if I related to a movie a lot a lot than when, as somebody that has predominantly dated white people throughout most of their life, to when he gets to the party and everyone's being overly nice, but you can feel the uncomfortableness, and you just have to sit there and just kind of be like, I would have voted for Obama a third time. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I've definitely heard comments like that where it's just kind of like, oh, like, I really like tacos, like, from this restaurant. Like, I think you should go to judge if they're good tacos. And I'm like, what? Why do I need to?
Yeah.
I will, but why do I need to?
But all that to say this, the question that I wanted to ask based on the first question is, how, and this is just something that only me and you can answer, how do you do your children in horror movies today?
Oh, man. So, damn, that's a great question. I think I have come to the conclusion that I let them kind of like watch, and as we go, if there's like, if I feel like an uneasiness, and the funny thing is I've found out that, like, especially my son, who's my oldest two are the ones who watch the most, and they're almost Irish twins. They're like 14 months apart, and they like watch the same things, enjoy the same things, do the same things pretty much. But they like have a different level of kind of like acceptance to different, just kind of like, I guess, creepiness or whatnot. So my son, he doesn't exactly like, who's the younger one, doesn't exactly like certain things, and will find creepy things within like some kind of cartoons that are made for children.
Yeah.
Whereas she doesn't see any like issue at all with anything. And I don't know if it's maturity level or whatnot yet, but she and both of them just kind of ask when there's something that they mutually watch, you know, and find kind of like uneasy. I'm just like, it's a movie. It's not necessarily real, but understand like certain things do happen. Like when we die, it means that you are physically not with us anymore. And, you know, like, we don't know what happens. And again, it gets kind of also into the conversation that, like I mentioned earlier, that my daughter was asking, like, oh, what happens when we get buried and whatnot. But I think I've come to them with the, like, I did something a little bit different where I talked to them when they were like infants, like not even year old, and I started talking to them about and telling them like ancestral stories of like, hey, like your abuelo who's not with us anymore, like, is still watching you, and he's the one who told me that we're like going to be born, because that is something that, at least for me, has happened every single time that my wife has been pregnant or become pregnant. At least a month or two in of her pregnancy, before we find out, like, legitimately, my abuelo in dreams has come to me and told me, like, and so I tell them before they are conscious and aware. So there's like a kind of spirituality that I think somewhat plays into it, and I just believe plays into it. But at the same time, it's also just at some point gonna be the reality that, like, we just also have to talk about, like, hey,
Yeah.
like, enjoy the movie, enjoy the show, because it's interesting, it's funny, it's weird, it's quirky, it's, you know, just a movie. But at the same time, like, if you have questions, we can address and we can talk about them, and I'm very open with their, like, curiosity as we go through said movie. So, like, Halloween Town was like the most recent, like, weird kind of.
Is that as far as you've gone, like Halloween Town?
No, they've watched. I think they've watched at least one Chucky, and then they've watched. What have they watched? I mean, they've watched some horror movies. I'll just say that. I don't know to what extent, just because, like, I don't necessarily, like. Not that I don't care, but I know my wife. They're watching it with my wife, and my wife is going to be the one who's, like, kind of like watching them with them and taking care of them with it. And so, worked out for her. So I'm just like, man, you know, like she'll take care of them. She'll like comfort them if like they're uncomfortable. But yeah, like I've kind of played it to where it's like most of like the acceptable for me, anyways. What I've offered to them like is those most of the acceptable kind of like Halloween tropes and cartoons. Again, the Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town, Beetlejuice, as many things I remember growing up with. Also, just like kind of like
my daughter with her mom actually went to go see the Beetlejuice play, and I was just kind of like, I don't know if that's
Nice fucking model.
And I remember because it took a while. At first, she was like a really big scaredy cat, but I also was not being an asshole like my parents or my family was, or was just kind of like jumping and scaring her kind of thing. It was just kind of one of those. I love Halloween because I legitimately do love Halloween, and I also do love horror movies. I have this thing in my head where it's just kind of like some of my favorite horror movies about like The Thing and They Live. Like it was just kind of like, yeah, it'd be great if there was an alien that you could point to that it was just kind of like, hey, bro,
That's
you
the
get
bad guy.
Yeah, that's the bad guy. You get rid of that alien, that god, that monster. Life is great, but no, life is actually way more horrifying than that because it's just like people are doing bad things because they think it's funny, because for approval, to make money. Like the real life is more horrifying than eldritch horror gods. Is how I see it.
Absolutely.
But it comes down to this point where so I find comfort in horror movies most of the time now, and at first when I tried to share this with Eva, she was very scared about it, but now she's full on about it. Her mom had to deal with her running around the Spirit of Halloween store for 3 hours the other day.
Oh, bro, yeah. No, we just went through that. So we had the first experience with that last year, and then this year we went to get. I mean, and my kids again, like especially my daughter, she enjoys Halloween. She enjoys like the creepy, spooky, whatever. But then like she's over here, she's like, I want to be Elsa. And then my son's like, I want to be Chase, like from Paw Patrol. I'm like, all right, motherfuckers, y'all were just over here watching Halloween Town. Like, y'all love the goblin, like, you know, mask, but okay, all right, whatever.
So
Bro, I still want a giant fuck off skeleton. that fucker's gonna be up in my house year round.
So Eva's always had this whimsical thing, and it's gone all the way through. Because I remember I told Sam, and I think this was 3 years ago. No. It was COVID, so it was 4 years ago. I know this for a fact. But she was just kind of like, I just want to be an owl. I just want to be an owl for Halloween.
I was a penguin once.
Yeah, and then Sam was just straight up like, huh. I never thought like a kid these days would not want to be a character, would straight up just be like, I just want to be a bird.
Yeah,
like
an animal.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, no, I get you.
She's been an owl, a werewolf, she's been a couple of characters that I don't recognize just because they're from like the Disney Monster High TV show kind of thing.
I wouldn't recognize them either.
Yeah, no.
I don't remember what my kids have been. I got pictures of it, but I don't remember.
And then right now, like for this year's Halloween, she wants to be like a dinosaur. She already got the costume.
Oh shit!
She's a giant inflatable dinosaur.
Nice.
The only issue is that so my mom sent her money, but she has no idea what costumes cost now. So she sent her $140, and
costs like $3.
Well, the dinosaur costume was $60, and then they were like, "You can't wear this to school at all."
That's whack.
It's a giant inflatable.
How's giant?
The inflatable part makes sense to me because, like, it is kind of. Well, she's a kid, so I'm guessing, like, imagine the raptors from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's also fair.
I mean, I don't know how to send stuff to Sam, but I mean, that's how big it is.
Jesus Christ! All right.
Yeah, that's totally.
Wait, how
a
old's your
raptor from
kid?
Jurassic. 9?
10.
10. I don't know.
But that's
what her
how-
birthday is.
Whatever. It is what it is. So she actually bought a. It's not Monster High. I don't mean the one with the green people. I meant the one where it's like zombies are fighting vampires in a dance-off. I don't know what it is, Serenity.
What?
It's a straight up preteen Disney thing, and I don't know what it is. But I've seen it's like Zombie U or something. I've seen it with Eva.
Yeah. I don't know the name of it.
I don't know the name of it either. But like.
I think I know.
So
what
she
you're talking about.
She actually read her first Harry Potter book this year, and so she bought a Harry Potter costume.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, my kid. I just saw they were like a cat. Both of them were cats. Like last year, and like inspiring cats. They like just like whisker paint and just like cat ears.
But
Like,
one of the first Halloween things that I had a great experience with Eva watching until we got to the last episode. This is the first time.
Oh yeah, my boy was a fucking fox. A fox with the fucking with the fucking eyes too. Yeah, no, he's a fox.
Just buy him
2 years ago.
Fox PJs. And then,
He wanted to be a fox, so that's it. Yeah, there you go.
one of my favorite kids cartoons, and it's actually like a preteen like kid cartoon as well, is Gravity Falls. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
I have not. I've heard it's a phenomenal show.
It is a phenomenal show.
Damn, I need to watch it though.
And so it was really cool to watch it with Eva because for the most part, it's all very like child friendly. Like there's a couple things that get a little freaked out.
Of course,
And there's a couple
most shows do.
And there's a couple of
Rightfully so.
things that are very much like, well, you're 8, you're not going to be thinking about dating someone, and that's a legitimate like issue in this show kind of thing. But also, I was 6 watching Doug. I understood like crushes are cool, like
100%.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But if we got to the season finale,
My elementary crush, I'll tell you what. Yes. Now? Yes.
we got to the season finale of Gravity Falls, and she's like, "Dad, I'm done. We're not going any further than this." Because like the season finale is straight up like they're fighting an eldritch horror demon at the end of it.
Oh shit. And that's it?
It's finally,
Oh, yeah.
finally happening!
Bill Cipher.
Physical form, don't mind if I
Jesus Christ. What the fuck? And she was just like, not about it?
She was like, "This is actually scary, Dad. Like, I'm out."
Really? Wow, that's what got her? Holy shit. Hey, that's all right.
Well,
we all
like,
have different tolerances.
This demon can control reality, so there was a part where like it removes somebody's face like completely.
Oh yeah.
Okay, got it.
And then she was just kind of like, I don't want to deal with this.
Not about it, Pops. I feel you. All right, cool. Gotcha.
Do
Interesting.
you want to talk about what you saw? I don't know what I saw. I don't want to talk about it. I'm out.
Fair.
But there's last year was I took her to go see Hocus Pocus, and I did put a lot of precautions because I don't remember the movie. Like I had not remembered the movie. I saw it the last time I'd seen it before I saw it last year was, I don't know, like not 12, 15 years ago. Like it's not on my usual watch list.
Yeah, it's been a minute. And I mean, like, yeah, I was not. So I'll also be honest. Like I had never actually watched Hocus Pocus until my wife made me watch it because she was like, okay, the second one's coming in. I was really big fan of it, and she also wanted like my daughter watch it, and now it's like especially around this time of the year, like my daughter's like quiero ver la mágica, or like, you know, I want to, because in Spanish it's like mágica something or whatever, and so like she wants to watch the Hocus Pocus movie, and
Yeah.
But I saw it and I was like, this is wild. And you like want to let her watch it, and then she just like fucking fell in love with it. So,
Eva was actually not scared. She did have questions afterwards, but I was really weirded out because this is what I remember before watching that movie. I was like, I think I vaguely remember a kid being painfully anamorphed into a cat.
Yeah.
And I think...
and then ran over. The cat gets ran over and killed, and like they have the dead body of the cat like fucking like all like twinkle, and then they're like, oh, dying, like the fucking cat died, the kid died or whatever, but then the cat just like fucking like comes back to life and it's like, oh, and
See,
it's
I
like,
didn't even remember that part.
and it's like, that's my curse, I can't die, I have to live forever as a cat. It's like, holy shit. And yeah, that was wild.
And then I just vaguely remembered, and it actually doesn't happen in the movie except for one part that I did forget. I thought the witches were meaner and torturing people. They don't actually throughout most of the movie.
They're not. The second, so the first movie is like a little bit of like kind of weird semi-torture, kind of cursing, whatever. The second movie is like full, just like it. I mean, you might as well call it like a musical. Like there's like just full blown out like musical sing along kind of like aspects, which semi-side attention I also love about Agatha Harkness show. Like their fucking lines
What's
are
funny about Agatha,
gold.
and
Love it.
I haven't watched one single second of it.
You should.
Is
It's solid.
everyone that likes it is like everyone that's seen it has liked it, and then they're just kind of like, because the show's almost over. I think there's like an episode or two left.
So tonight, wait, today's Wednesday, Thursday. Holy shit! Yesterday there was an episode dropped, and I think it's episode 6.
So 2 left after that.
I was gonna say I think there's 8. So yeah.
So as long as it doesn't drop the ball, like it has an okay finale, that's probably on pace to being the best show. Just basically, I don't know anyone that said one negative thing about Agatha at all right now.
It's a really good show. 3 episodes left.
Thank you, Serenity.
So 9 lives. Wait. Okay, sure. Whatever.
My line
Anyways,
is about
okay.
the cat being run over.
Okay. All right. Cool. But yeah, good show.
Yeah, no, I don't know one person that watched it and doesn't have anything negative bad to say. The thing is that Marvel has put out so many.
9 episodes of Agatha, 9 lives for the cats. Okay, that's a.
I don't know if Agatha has a cat. I haven't watched an episode.
Well, okay. You should watch.
I can tell you,
episode.
even in the comics, no.
Yeah. Also.
But
the comics are very inconsistent. Sometimes she's old, sometimes she's young and hot.
and I was just kind of like, all right, cool. We're gonna go see Hocus Pocus, friendly kid movie. It'll be fine. And then I fucking forgot that a kid dies in the first 10 minutes of that movie.
Bro, yes. They killed the little girl.
They fucking just de-ageify her until she's dead, and then
Crazy. When I watched that and I was like, this is what you're showing to like our daughter. I was like, oh, I'm just let you do it, and you take the fucking repercussions. We'll fucking work with it. But hey, yeah, no, it works.
No, we walked out, and I was just like, "Were you scared?" And she was like, "No, like it was a little scary, but it was fine." And I was just kind of like, "Okay, cool. Like this is the level where we're at right now."
Wimp. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I get you. I get it.
What's funny for me is like I did go through a period where I hated horror movies, and then where I started to turn around on them was actually Lake Placid, because I loved creature features was one of my first things. And honestly, Lake Placid probably like not scary compared to a genre that can go as far as Hellraiser.
I get that though. I'm down for like creature features and whatnot. I don't
Might
know.
have been Anaconda for me, or well, the first.
Ice Cube, right?
Yeah.
Boom. Black man lives.
They're bringing it back, baby.
Yeah, for real.
Anaconda did freak me out in the fact when you see it move under the water and then you see the dude's face, like
I don't remember that.
oh man.
There are moments that did freak me out in Anaconda, but I remember talking about this with my brother and Paco on our podcast. If you guys want to hear more horror movie discussions, check out Alpha Primos on YouTube. But I asked them what was the first horror movie you guys remember going to a theater to watch, because like a lot of us,
That's a great.
yeah, because pretty much like every kid or every Mexican kid at least that I knew was like, no, yeah, I saw Halloween on cassette. Like my dad rented it or my mom rented it. And we watched it on VHS, or we got the DVD like from Blockbuster or whatever. But what was the first one you remember going to the theater to watch?
Damn, that's a great question too. I don't even know.
And for me, I think so. I always get it confused, but I think it was The Haunting, because The Haunting was PG-13. So
The first one I remember seeing in theaters right off the bat is the one where Owen Wilson is in a haunted house. It's like The Haunting on something hill.
that's the one I get it confused with. Yeah, we have to say the Owen Wilson one. I think is The Haunting, and The House on Haunted Hill is another one. They came out like the same year, but they were both PG-13, and I saw both of them. I remember The House on Haunted Hill more because it was...
Damn, it is The Haunting.
Yeah, no, The Haunting's the one with Owen Wilson.
What?
The House on Haunted Hill is the one with fucking Chris Kattan with Mango from SNL. But yeah, I remember them being PG-13, or it advertised as PG-13, and in my like little kid brain, because I was still kind of like freaked out by horror movies a little bit, I was like, well, this one's PG-13, like how bad's it gonna be?
Fair.
Like, I've seen Terminator, like if it's as bloody as Terminator, I'll be fine.
Bro, I just found the clip. Or not the... I mean, yes, if I click this, I can actually get the clip.
Yeah.
But I just found the image of the dude, like, being, like, digested by the anaconda.
By the anaconda?
Yeah, and I was just kind of like... I was a bitch. Like, now that I'm looking at the image... Because... I've never looked at this movie again, because who the fuck wants to watch Anaconda at this point? I have gotten to a point where I want to watch Deep Blue Sea. Like, I've gotten to a point where I want to watch Jaws 3. I've never gotten to a point where I'm like, let me rewatch Anaconda right now. So I've never re-looked at this image, and I remember the first time I saw it as a kid, I was like, I'm fucking scared of getting into the, like, because we used to go to the rivers all the fucking
course,
time, and I was like, not doing that anymore for a little bit.
I've seen snakes in the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like little fucking like snakes this long and like this thick. It's like, oh, anacondas.
But I never thought of re-looking at it, and I'm like, dude, I was scared of this like Scorpion King 2 level CGI.
Oh no. That's it? Oh, because that's in the body of
That's
the
in the
animal.
snake. Yeah, he ate the guy. I love the thing you did with the whole sand face. It's beautiful. Bastard. So kind of in the same vein, but like not a horror movie by any stretch of the imagination. I was rewatching Casper recently. The Christina Ricci movie, and I remember
Still ghosty.
Yeah, it's still ghosts. But I remember as a kid in like the opening 20 minutes when the lady gets the house and she's like, well, we have to exorcise these ghosts to get the treasure. She calls like a bunch of people to like get rid of the ghosts. She calls the fucking Ghostbusters. Harry Stan shows up.
Oh, yes.
Like,
that's right.
Who are you gonna call? Somebody else. But the first dude she calls is a priest. And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. It's a piece of cake. I can do it. It's easy. And he goes into the house and you just hear like roars and ghost sounds and then like bones cracking and you're like, what the fuck? And then there's a beat and the door opens up again and he walks out, but he's like walking backwards. And you're like, why is he walking backwards? And the lady's just like, so did you get him? And he turns around and like they broke his neck and they turned his head all the way around, but he's still alive. And seeing that as a kid freaked me the fuck out.
I don't remember that. I remember the who you're gonna call somebody else. I don't remember that.
Yeah, the guy right before is like a priest, and he's also like an SNL player. He was, I don't know his name. I don't think the character like went further beyond this movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's playing a priest, and he's like, oh yeah, no problem. Piece of cake, piece of crumb cake. I can do it. And then he goes in, neck snaps, and he walks out. And like, for the time, the effect was really good. But I was rewatching it. And
This
I was
effect looks good today. What are you talking about?
So as a still, it looks really good. But when he's walking, that shit looks fake as fuck.
Oh, actually.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
So this will be the only scene. I saw this when I was 5. And it still freaks me out to this day. Actually, it's one of the few ones that still freaks me out to this day. But I just remember, for a little bit, I had a love-hate relationship with aliens. And when I saw this scene, I was just kind of like, fuck this.
Oh, is this Fire in the Sky?
What the fuck is this?
To this day.
What the fuck was that, bro?
Yeah, bro.
One of the scenes that always freaked me out because it was that dude. So first of all, this is based on a true story, and this was at a point. This was when I was a baby. Yes, this was when I was a baby conspiracy theorist, and I was like willing to accept all and all stories because in the '90s, being a conspiracy theorist is kind of cute. That's like you're Mulder on the X-Files. Like it's not what it means today.
Yeah, you're like cute. You get all the girls and whatnot. You believe in aliens? Like, all right, cool.
Sing with me, Scully.
yeah.
But like I would watch this. I would watch Unsolved Mysteries, like all that stuff, and it would kind of.
Oh, the Unsolved Mysteries theme still.
Good night, Benji.
Freaks me out. Good night, Benji.
After his fucking threesome, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You can't come in here and then fucking tell us good night. It's fucking 10, motherfucker.
He has to work or whatever.
I gotta work. I
he
gotta
left
work
all
too.
his electrolytes
Wait, no,
and two
actually,
other
never
people.
mind. I actually don't have to work tomorrow.
But yeah, so Fire in the Sky was based on some dude's story, and like his story is just like I was driving home on a dirt road, and then the aliens picked me up, like, and I was just kind of like all the other dirt road. Like, first of all, it looks like South Texas when he's driving around in his Ford Bronco, and the grass is that greenish yellow everywhere.
Yeah, I get you. Also, so they said Scooby-Doo. The fucking movie that fucked me up was the Zombie Island.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, everybody I always hear talk about that, like, oh yeah, that's the movie that fucked us up when like we were kids. That movie fucked me up when we were kids. And it's like like all the zombies were actual fucking like zombies.
they were real.
I was like waiting for it to like be like, oh yeah, because y'all were fucking blah 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 from whatever.
Old
whatever.
Man Jenkins.
Yeah. I was like, oh no, y'all were real zombies. And so I mean, obviously cartoon, but that shit like got me. Yeah, that was scary. That was a good scary movie. Classic.
So, it has been proven that this dude was full of shit, and he just made a story. Because now I'm a smarter conspiracy theorist.
Okay, proven like 5 minutes ago, or proven like
No. Like
Okay.
over time, people were just kind of like
The same way that I was like, oh, 2 guns for to kill 1 JFK? Bullshit, bro.
it just got it came to a point where they articulated and fact checked enough that it was just kind of like, yeah, this doesn't really add up.
Yeah.
But
Zombie Island the soundtrack to that shit was
terror time again.
but yeah, bro, this movie, like 3 fucking like Western looking dudes in a Ford. I was like, yeah, bro, that's
Yeah,
like
bro.
me every time I come home from camping.
Me every time my dad picks me up from t-ball practice. You mean to tell me we could get abducted?
Like, bro, tell me that doesn't look like you're driving around Cedar Park or Bastrop or something.
But there's a turn like that on the way home for us.
Yeah, that's where the trolls live. But
Trolls
yeah.
and Kukui.
I'm still at a point right now where I probably wouldn't show Eva any horror movies, but I remember trying to, and this was just a similar, unrelated tangent, but I was just asking my sister, I was like, should I let Eva watch Spy Family, which is a anime about with like family hijinks, but there is violence and people do explode, but it's cartoon explosions. Like they throw a grenade and it's like they're gone. Like we don't see like bits and pieces and shit.
I'm not familiar with that show.
I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody is dressing up like Anya in your kid's school today. You'll find out.
Okay.
But I remember,
You know that meme of the little girl I sent you when you sent me the magic trick guy? And I was like, impossible.
Oh yeah.
That's
okay.
Anya.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
but I asked my sister, and I was just kind of like, should I like let Eva watch this? Like, is this getting a little too much? And it was also at a point where I was beginning to show her One Piece, beginning to show her.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just got really excited. Super off the wall. Sorry.
right, well,
side tangent.
We'll finish my thought, and
Yes.
we'll go to that thought.
No, we don't need to. It's okay.
all right.
It's whiskey related.
But yeah,
it's okay.
I asked my sister, I was like, is it an okay idea to show Eva these things at like 8 or 9? And in my head, I'm like, the first time I saw Gundam Wing, I was 10, and I guess it wasn't, I mean, that's literally people blowing up in tanks. And then she was like, yeah, but you got to understand, like, our parents showed us The Predator at 5. Like,
Bro, I have a very clear and vivid memory of watching Terminator 2 in kindergarten. Like it had just come out on VHS and one teacher rented it and they're like, yeah, sure, show it to the kids, it's fine. You don't see any Arnold Wiener, who cares?
Yeah.
I do remember my parents like having this really weird strict thing when I was 8, because we did see Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And then my cousin Luis tried to rent Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And then my mom was like, that's too mature for you. Like, there's sex jokes in there. But you can totally watch Arnold Schwarzenegger shotgun people in the face.
But again, and this like it goes to like the just like I mean we can just it can become its own like fucking episode, but the conversation of just like the acceptance of certain things, because like we will always accept like, oh, death, yeah, so and so died, abuelo died, primo died, blah blah blah, but then it's like, holy shit, pee-pee, like, you know, like fucking A, like, oh my god, they're kissing, like, you know, it's like. And it's
I
like,
will say that one might not be uniquely Hispanic, because Game of Thrones is really big on being like boobs, 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 one dick, more boobs, more boobs, more
But
boobs.
still, and it's floppy. It's not hard.
also true, yeah. Or prosthetic, you know, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. But like, oh man, there was a horror movie that, I mean, it's just like completely, I mean, I guess there's a few, but I guess it would have been one of the Jason movies, where it was like sex scene and there was like breasts that showed, but my parents.
That's a lot of Jason movies.
Is it a good chunk? Okay, I've not also seen a lot of the Voorhees movies, but
I was about to say, like, I've only seen Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell, and then one random one in between. Yeah, because the first, it actually,
whichever one's the one where she gets pulled into the lake.
Once again, that's like 4 movies.
Well, okay, all right. Anyways,
At the end?
At the end.
That's one.
Is that the one? The first?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's the end of the first one.
Okay.
See, baby Jason comes up and takes her into the.
Okay. Well, yeah. So
Serenity, I'm going to be honest, like, as Mexican, they've always never cared about butts. They're just kind of like,
Yeah, no,
mira los nalgas.
nalgas. I las pompis. Fuck outta here.
Yeah.
It's your boy Shoe says it's the first one.
Yeah. The first
Okay.
one's where Jason pops up and like. Just
Well,
jack-
there's like breasts in that first one.
Yeah, no. In all of them, Jason waits for them to finish fucking, and then he's like, "All right, I'm gonna kill you now."
Yeah, he lets them finish so he can finish
Yeah.
and then finish them. But anyway,
Michael Myers kills you during.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, respect. Just like get it done. Do it. No, but Yeah, like, so the first, I guess that was the first one. For whatever reason, we were watching it, and I honestly don't remember in what context or like what age even, but I remember just watching it with my parents, and like my parents like, oh, like close, like, oh, mijo, like, you know, did the whole fucking thing.
It's spooky.
yeah, exactly. While like the breasts were out, and then it's like when he was just like fucking machete to the fucking side or whatever, they were just like, okay. I was like,
That's fine.
what is going on here?
Yeah,
And
my parents covered my eyes when the chick got naked in Titanic.
Yeah.
yeah, also that. Yeah, also that. Yeah.
But and this was also one of the top 10 horrifying moments of me watching movies as a child is everyone, because I didn't give a fuck about Leonardo DiCaprio. I gave a fuck about his vaguely Italian friend that I was like, that's a Mexican dude. just because he was vaguely brown. That's all it took. And then he was just swimming in the water, and then when the fucking like smokestack falls on him, and I was like, he was just Leo's friend. What the fuck?
He didn't even get a turn with the redhead.
But
Billy Zane did. That piece of shit lives.
well, it is funny to go back to something that Emiliano brought up at the beginning, where it's just kind of like there is an aspect where a lot of even our peers see horror movies as a comedy thing, and it comes down to a point where, like, our friend Alex, him and his son is like 7 or 8. Both dressed up as Michael Myers together, just walk through the streets, a giant and a little Michael Myers, and then
He's my mini me.
and the entire time that happened, I was just kind of like, that's cute, but it's also kind of weird. And then I look back to my own childhood, and I'm like, you probably can't watch Tiny Toons without knowing like 10 horror references, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I was called out as a kid for Tiny Toons. Because there's one where they do the Jason shh, 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 shh. And since the character pops out and is dressed as Freddy, I was like, oh, it's a Freddy reference. Because I knew who Freddy was.
Yeah.
But, like, I said that, like, in class while we were watching it, like, on cassette or whatever, and one of the kids was like, that's Jason, you fool.
I just started
The sound is Jason.
Well,
Interesting. Yeah. No. I also wonder where those like cross-reference like universes started happening, because like if they're making
probably Tiny
Voorhees-
Toons, actually.
I was
now
gonna
that
say
you
yeah,
say-
because I guess if like they made the Voorhees reference, but then showed, you know,
A Freddy outfit.
Freddy Krueger. Yeah.
Well, there was also a lot of comics that were made before, like Batman fighting the Predator and shit
Yeah,
like that. Like,
true.
there's always been around. But to go back to Mexicans on the Mas o Menos podcast.
I'm one of those. Ask away.
There just always seems to be an aspect of, like, I understand that South Sibs is bringing it up, like Violence Okay, Sex No, and I get that too. But there's also, like, it goes deeper than movies. Like, this is where I was trying to get smart with it, and I just couldn't find any, like, nobody has written a paper on it, is basically what it is. And that happens with a lot of Mexican American topics. I could find a ton of videos about tacos that are just like, oh, these are where tacos originate, like, come from Lebanon, or all this other fucking shit. But when it comes to, like, at least other niche topics, it's a little bit harder, and this was one of them, where I was just kind of like, there's just something ingrained with us where we have like an interest or a love of horror kind of thing. And because it goes into like even past movies, like one of the first things that comes to mind is like, there ain't no fucking reason, because I do understand, like, there's all sorts of celebrations for Christmas and kind of things. But, like, if you sit down and explain, like, oh, we're doing matachines as a way to bring, like, Hispanic or Aztec or Native, I don't know where it comes from, Native culture and Catholic culture in a way, because we're Mexico, we're all mestizo, and we're trying to blend everything. That's one thing. But when I was watching the Matachines in Eagle Pass, you would straight up see people dressed up like Michael Myers, the Devil, and all these other horror icons. Just fucking, and I understand the idea of it because it's not uniquely Mexican American or Mexican. It's like we dress up as demons to scare other demons to purify the street. That's why Japanese households have the Oni mask in front of their house. Like
Gargoyles.
it's gargoyles is another example. Like it's not uniquely Mexican, but it's just weird that we integrated it in a way where it's just kind of like where you were watching the Matachinas, you're watching this like folkloric dance. And you were also watching a dude dressed up like
I think it's
a
because
demon with a whip.
Yeah.
Just fucking breaking it.
I think it's because even like our indigenous or Aztec Mayan gods were also like kind of spooky. Like our god of death with Mitlan Tecuitli. I think that's
Mictlantecutli
yeah. He's
is the male embodiment.
yeah. And he has a wife. But yeah, he's a dude just with the skull face. He's Ghost Rider. Like
Yeah.
our Zeus equivalent or whatever, Kukulkan or Quetzalcoatl
Quetzalcoatl would be
is fucking
carrier of the sun.
Yeah, it's a giant snake with wings. It's two scary things. It flies and it's poisonous.
Yeah.
Like I think that's part of it. Whereas, like, not to be disrespectful or whatever, but white people's god is just a guy in the clouds.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think so. I mean, to your point, I think it is a combination of like a lot of our indigenous ancestry, 100%. Stories that are continuously just passed down. I think it's also something that just happens to be a part of like, I guess at the time, counterculture. I mean, you hear counterculture now and it's like, like you're just thinking about people with blue hair or whatever. But at the time, like you're talking about counterculture and it's like, it's something that's more revolutionary than that. And it's also something that is like, no, we're trying to stay alive, and we're trying to find ways to keep our humanity, keep our history, keep our community, our culture, our ancestry alive with this new colonial kind of aspect. And it brings me to like I don't know what country it is, but there's a country in Africa that partakes in essentially like a demonic like style of dance, but they do it not because like that's their practice. They do it like in full irony because their philosophy was like when the colonizers came over, the colonizers saw us Africans, black people, as demons, and they saw that us.
I mean, I've seen that used today where I'm not the biggest expert, at least at all, because as someone that was raised Catholic, we don't touch the Old Testament for the most part. Like you get to learn about the flood and anything they make a movie about, but like all the other shit that is very important. Honestly, if you care about that religion, we didn't really learn about it because we just learned about Jesus. But I've heard, and this is actually comes more from Hollywood, but it is in the Bible, that it's just kind of like there's the chosen people, there's the people that choose Christ, and there's all the other mud people that are like descendants of demons, which is where all this comes from.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's this like community who they do like this essentially like demonic parade, but they do it like full irony because they still, if I'm not mistaken, they still practice to the most part like their own ancestral culture and history, but they do it and then they have this like time period where it's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna make fun of the colonizers who came in and said, well, being black is demonic, and so they're like, okay, well, what can we do to be blacker than black, to make fun of the people who saw us as demonic? And so they like paint themselves in even like darker like paint to become darker than dark, and then they just like parade themselves with like little horns and tongues and whatnot, and like it's a crazy festival that I saw, and it's like insane, and in this context of just like how much they go into it. It's almost like a, I guess, like a colored neutral like Mardi Gras, because Mardi Gras is like very flamboyant colors, but they do like just like dark and like blacked out like paint and whatnot. So it would be a little bit more kind of like just anti that in the aspect of it, but they treat it in such of like the like attention and the aspect of like Mardi Gras. But that all being said, I think it's also to the Mexican kind of aspect is of like our history and our indigenous kind of like connection to our ancestral spirits or, you know, practices. I think it's something that we just hold true, that is kind of like, it's something that's not really accepted by the standardized culture and community that people do genuinely a lot see like as like either demonic or like anti-Christian or anti-Catholic. And so we just kind of still to an extent practice it and carry it. You know, the La Muerta, you know, she's still
that's one of the things I was about to ask you about, because South Sibs brings up, it's like, I mean, Loteria es el diablo la muerta en la calavera, and I wanted to transition that specifically to ask, like, because it's not something I understand. Honestly, it's not something that my parents or my grandparents ever spoke of. But like this idea of worshiping death, I get it from a fictional standpoint, kind of thing. Like with stories like what you guys brought up about like death always whispering in your ear, live. And these are all fictional. Like, I don't know if it has any connection. It probably doesn't, because a lot of these come from Neil Gaiman writing comics and stories and shit like this. But the idea of, like, death being kind, death being the ultimate equalizer, death being, like, the
indigenous embodiment of death, he's not evil. He's not like Hades. He's not...
Yeah. Exactly.
He's not.
That's what I mean. Like I just don't know. Like
yeah. I mean,
Mitlan de Quitli is not an evil god by any stretch of the imagination. He's benevolent and kind. Both of them are. He's just the one that like watches over the underworld where we all end up. Like that's ultimately like pretty much his main deal, right? He's like, I'm not coming after y'all. I'm not some like Grim Reaper in the dark in Final Destinations. Just like eventually you're just gonna show up at my door and I'm gonna take you in.
Yeah. I mean, so like, you know, one of the interesting things that again, I don't know if I've said it here before, but I can read the birth codices that we have as
for Aztec culture.
Yeah, for the Tonali.
Yeah.
I can read it. So I understand the days. I know how to calculate them.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, because it seems like anytime someone speaks on Aztec culture, one one person will say like, "Hey, this is pretty like fun," and it'll just be like a description of the god, and then like 200 native people show up, and it's just like, "You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You read this on Wikipedia."
No, yeah. So
There's a lot of that.
I've learned from elders. There is also, I will acknowledge that there's completely, rightfully so, different ways to understand and read it. Different communities, different cultures have their own way in doing it. I think ancestrally there was a right way to do it. At this point, I don't think that. I mean,
muddied.
I don't think there's an exact way to do it. The way that I learned is the way I learned. I think it still is, to an extent, technically wrong. And I think the proper way in which it should be read is more by the moon cycles, which is like very set in line, which is not the exact way that I learned it. But that all being said, so in connection to like the muerta and like the connection to Mictlantecutli and Mictlantecuhtli and all the like the followers and the Tezcatlipoca, the creators and founders and guardians of like the afterlife and whatnot, and the guardians of what we would consider as like, if we all trace back to the same indigenous backgrounds, would be the North. First time chat. When you ask your parents,
so they can watch Joe Rogan and they put this on. I mean,
hey, yeah.
Hey man, I'm sorry,
I
but
was gonna say,
have you ever done DMT, bro?
If
You know, the
if
funny
this
thing
is
is-
the off kilter version of Joe Rogan, I think we're winning. All right, I think we're on the way. I don't know.
you know, like if
We can
Joe,
talk about
if Joe
workout
Rogan
shit.
is Coca-Cola, let me put it that way.
Where
I don't mind being Hill Country because if Joe Rogan is making, I don't know, 280 million or whatever the fuck it is, he has a stupid contract by Spotify.
yeah, no,
And
I'm pretty sure they're regretting that.
and he's banking on YouTube too.
no, you're fine, bro.
Yeah.
But I'm
Don't worry,
like,
bro.
Hey, bro, I wouldn't mind making 1/5 of that contract. Like,
Yeah.
if
Totally.
he's getting 280 million, I'm okay with 28. Like,
Okay with one.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
And yeah, don't worry about it, bro. We'll start talking about cold plunges soon.
Yeah. But with all that being said, so when my son was born, my second child, and it Wavy, I'll just say Wavy. You
Wavy
might have
stack.
missed it. Yeah, Wavy, you missed it earlier, maybe. So my second child's boy, but they're only 14 months apart. And when he was born, we were, I guess, just getting past COVID-ish. And like my wife brought up the point, like, hey, you know, your abuelo, did you ever do like a reading of his birthday? And I was like, okay, well, you know, I didn't, so I should. And I think this is a great time to do it because, again, my abuelo told me well before she knew that she was pregnant, but I knew that, like, hey, your wife is carrying a child. And so she said you should do your abuelo's reading. And so in context of, like, again, not as a Mexicano and, like, people being indigenous and in our community and, like, having a lot of deep roots in indigenous history, we didn't ever see death as an ill-willed thing ancestrally. That all being said, my abuelo's Tonalamat, which is his birth reading, essentially said, like, he was destined to be the first in his next lineage to pass away because he was going to be the carrier of the sun going into the life going north. And the
Damn.
north for us, if we're considering
it's the
ourselves
northernmost plane.
so if we're considering, and also geologically, or geographically, sorry. If also geographically, if we're considering ourselves as all being Mexica or from the Triple Alliance down in like Mexico City and whatnot, the north is where we consider our ancestors from coming down, like migrating and whatnot, in the grand scheme of things. So we talk about like you're physically going to go geographic north to where the ancestors came from, but also metaphysically you're going to go north, to the heavens and the greater hemisphere. And he was in his Tonalamat, the carrier of the sun and the staff of the sun that was going to carry the family onto the path that would be north. So, it's an interesting thing. It's a beautiful thing that we just kind of figure out and we accept. But, my abuelo, unfortunately, passing away also very interestingly, beautifully, painfully, after 9 months struggling from lung cancer. We saw like the beautiful, painful deterioration of like an anti 9 month kind of like gestation period of him kind of passing in, and then passing away to just, be that. And his, again, like birth date and date of birth, like very blatantly saying like, yes, you're going to be the first one of your lineage to pass away so that you can carry on and you can carry everybody to the next life. And then, that'd be it. But yeah, man, it's just interesting. He was the first one that I saw in Sweat Lodge, and he's, again, the one who's always told me every single time, like, hey, you're going to have a baby here, you're going to have a baby here, this is when. And he's also the one who tells me in dreams, like, when and who is going to pass away. So, yeah. Just how it is. But
well, and I do think that most of us are painted pretty deeply by Western civilization. Like, death is bad. Death is, like, Hades is a bad guy. Satan is a bad guy. Satan's in hell, kind of thing. But it's also, like, always been amazing to me in certain other aspects where it's just kind of like, you wear black to funerals. That's not a thing in a lot of cultures. You wear red to a lot of funerals in a lot of Native American and Asian cultures. And I'm being overly generic, but it's still true that it's just kind of like you wear red because it's like, hey, this person lived and we want to celebrate his life. Yeah. We don't want to mourn their life, kind of thing. Yeah.
I kind of inadvertently adopted that because, like, I would wear black because, like you said, we're kind of been westernized a whole lot. So, no, it wasn't a hard and fast rule that at my family funerals we wore black, but it was kind of expected. Yeah. Like, we also had uncles and cousins and stuff that were from the rancho, and they only had, like, this is the nicest fucking, like, button-up shirt I got, and it just happens to, be a Western-style flannel.
See, I've heard that, too, white for funerals, because white... So the thing that I've heard from a lot of other cultures is just like, well, you see a white light when you die, why wouldn't you wear white as an homage to death, kind of thing? Like, it's a celebration, where... Like we said, in Western civilization, you wear black. I've heard white as well, too.
But to my point, the only tie that I had that was black also had, like, a streak of red down it. Ah. So I would always wear that to funerals. I would wear, like, black and red.
To answer, like, the white part, so I think it's an interesting kind of like aspect, just because white was also like a difficult color to create when it came to, like, just especially if you're talking about like natural coloring. Mm-hmm. So you have in the Pecos River region, Devil's River. Yeah. They have the white shaman, which is not a shaman; it's a creation and writing of the moon spirit. but it's like one of the few white paintings that was done by indigenous people that have survived, because white is usually the first color to deteriorate when it comes to erosion. So not just that, but it's also because white being so special and so difficult to create next to the color purple was attributed to specific warriors who'd pass during certain battles, which would be specifically made to women. So women would passing during childbirth were like considered the greatest warriors, and so they would be like given like any kind of like white colored attribution, because that was like the difficult war that you could, or the most difficult war that you could battle, and at the same time it was the greatest war that you could die in. So you were given the greatest like piece of like essentially just difficult like material to create. And then, you know, black is just like, it's kind of like what we all become, you know, we all deteriorate to black. So black was for, again, indigenous kind of cultures, just like you go back to just like the earth. And at the same time, a lot of indigenous cultures, we burned our like
That's
ancestors.
true
So
as well.
we
I didn't
created,
think about that.
we go back to char, you know, we go back to charcoal. So carbon.
Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to delve a little bit more into this topic.
Hi, everybody. I'm back. But I'm back for a very special reason. As you can... Nope. Actually, you can't see. Now you can see. It's Manscaped, Dad. The Chairman Pro. I come back not only for that, to bring you spooktacular savings. I know that's another show. But here's the thing. The Chairman Pro, I haven't even cracked mine open yet. They gifted it to us. The fine folks at Manscaped have been a sponsor for us for many, many years now. I think that's true, actually. Many, many years. And here's the thing. Chairman Pro seems cool. My neck needs to be shaved. I could probably try it live. But you know what? I don't want to. Because, one, I want to try it out in my own time and have it feel good, and I don't want to get beard clipping hairs everywhere. But I want to show you and tell you about this, because I got it. I got the dome shaver, everybody. I said, Manscaped, would you please, please, please give me the dome shaver? And guess what they did? They gave me the dome shaver. And I got it right here, and it's true, and it's real, and there it is right there. Well, that's actually the Dome Pro package, which comes with the Dome Shaver Pro Head Shaver, Power Shave Gel Head and Face Shaving Gel, Dome Soother Head Aftershave Lotion, Protective Cap, Travel Case. I got the travel case, power adapter, and USB-C cable. Here's the thing, folks. I was like, hey, wait a minute. I am bald, and I need to have the Dome Shaver Pro. And so they gave it to me. And look it. It's been a couple days since I first used it. And so here's what I'm going to do. I think I promised you all that I was going to do it. Then this is going to make me have to do it like later. But I'm using this. Oh, yeah. He's looking surprised. I'm using it right now. Because you could see, it's like whatever. It has a little catcher of the hairs. But yeah, it doesn't hurt. It really doesn't. Like, I could do it dry. I could do it wet. I could get real close with it. And yeah, it's going to be uneven. But you can see it. You can see what it's doing. It's smooth. Hold on. Gotta get that. Boom, boom, boom. Gotta get that. You see the difference? And turn off. Put the cap back on. It's got a lovely carrying case. The Dome Shaver Pro. 5 double track blade heads. Curved blade pad, skin safe technology, which is why I was able to do it right on my head without any water or any creams or lotions. And 9,500 RPM motors, which you were hearing, long-lasting rechargeable battery, USB-C. You be seeing the USB-C. And ergonomic handle, as you saw with my hand, that flex adjust technology as I mentioned. Magnetic detachable blade pad, hair chamber, travel lock, USB-C wireless charge, I said, protective cap, traveling case. And yeah, detachable blade pad. I mean, I think it's just actual, these parts there, but pops off right there. Travel ready. There you go. Travel lock button right there. It is actually pretty darn great. And the fact that I could just go to my shower and finish this, but like, it is smooth. Actually, Marcos, come here, help me. What up? I need you to rub my head. Tell me that that's actually pretty damn smooth.
It's
No, like right here. Like rub that part. Isn't that like really close?
Yeet.
It's really close. Like it's not a joke.
Do the Bugs Bunny.
Don't Bugs Bunny slap my head. But no, it's actually a legitimately really close shaven. I don't know. You can see the sides. You can see the difference. Actually, fuck it. Since I'm doing all... Wow, I don't know if I'm supposed to curse. Also, I didn't mean to switch back there. But look at the side. Look at the side. This is the embarrassing side of my head.
That's so lumpy.
Shut up. You just rub it real nice.
I already had my jaw drop for this.
Bam. You see how that's smooth? Well, that's a little... That's a pimple that I've already been picking at. But yeah, the trim is smooth. And that's dry. That's without the various creams and lotions available at manscaped.com. And here's the thing, folks. You can get 20% off and free shipping on the Dome Shaver. And, of course, the Chairman Pro. But here's the thing. Before I try it out, I want to let you know, later this month, for spooky times, we're going to be giving one away. So be sure to watch and, I don't know, subscribe, donate, something. We're going to pick somebody. And we're going to give you one of these. But I'm going to try it first, let you know how I like it, but that'll be for the next episode because honestly, this thing I am so excited about. I don't have to do a whole process. I just jump in the shower, it's waterproof, and I can just right there. Manscaped. 20% off free shipping using coupon code MEX20 for 20% off free shipping at manscaped.com. Manscaped.com, 20% off free shipping using code MEX20. Manscaped. Your balls, face, and I will thank you. But seriously, your balls, your face, your chest, and now your head. Look at that smoothness. Well, thank you. And now I got to go finish. Good seeing you, folks. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well.
I am legitimately probably an absurdist is the best way I can put it.
A what?
An absurdist is the best way I can put it.
Oh yeah, I totally am.
I was
Raised
actually
on Looney Tunes and Animaniacs. Are you kidding me?
I was actually listening to the it was an excerpt from one of the Conan books, and I was just kind of like, that's a good way to live life. But the excerpt from the book was just like, let the scientists and the philosophers worry about whether life is an illusion, but if life is an illusion, then so am I, and I'm living a good fucking life, slaying my opponents and making the best love possible. And I was like,
Yeah.
Mostly fair.
What is best in life?
As a philosopher, that is a mostly fair and solid argument.
Kill your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women.
I've never read any of the fucking books. Aren't they comic books, actually, on that note?
For which one? What?
Conan?
Oh, yeah,
Conan the Barbarian?
Yeah. They're comic books.
Not the talk show host.
No.
Has he read?
Only I may dance. But to end this topic, and I think this will take a while because I have two stories at least. I just wanted to know, because we are all at least 3 or 4 levels deep into our culture of just kind of like, because there's an element of why are Mexicans into spooky shit to the point that I didn't even get to share this, and I didn't know how I was going to fit it in because there was no way it was going to be its own tangent. But kids having horror movie theme.
Oh, yeah.
Mexican kids just being like,
Are you okay?
Yeah. Not there yet.
See, my brother was the other way. He loved, he made all his piñatas something that he loved. So then when we had to bash him, he was like, no.
Yeah.
So we ended up...
Bro,
So my parents would have to buy 2 piñatas.
I know.
This is just a plain-ass star, like the basic classic star. And here's your Tweety piñata that you can hug at night.
Bro, I know. No, I felt bad for my boy because he's like loved every piñata that he's bout of, or that we've gotten him. But he, I guess it's just kind of like, in the end, so seeing his older sister, I think he's just kind of come to the conclusion, okay, this is kind of what we gotta do. But his first was it his first birthday or second birthday? But one of his main birthdays, because he had his like, so he was born during COVID-ish. Anyways, his first main like birthday that we tried to celebrate was Bluey.
Oh yeah.
Loves Bluey. Like Bluey is like near and dear to his heart.
I love
So-
Bandit. Bandit's a child.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, bro, yeah. Love Bandit. The man, like, that's my... so spirit animal's not a thing for, like, indigenous peoples. That's my spirit animal.
I didn't know that spirit animal is not a thing for indigenous cultures.
Yeah, what? Oh, yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah.
No, because I am dumb, and it literally is just like I am running wolf, and I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah, no, that's not a thing. No, anyway, different podcast.
That one clip of
Come
him
back
just,
next
like,
week. We can talk
sitting in
about it.
Costco.
Yeah, exactly. No, but
And the guy coming up to him like, can I help you? And he's just like, I wish you could.
yeah, that's right. That's like that's one of the new episodes. Yeah, for real. No, man. No, but yeah. So he had Bluey for one, and he was like devastated when we finally like had to break it. And it was one of the times where I don't remember what happened, but we unfortunately had to wait like. So he's born on like my son's like Mexican because he's born on Mexican Independence Day. So we had, but we unfortunately had to like celebrate his birthday like
Came out screaming.
oh yeah, like 2 or 3 months later though. So when we celebrated finally, like he was like really like kind of like beat up about like having to like break his piñata, but like he did it, and so I was like, okay, cool. And then this last time around, man, I don't remember what his piñata was. So this last time around, it was El Chapulín.
Oh,
Yeah, and so we like, but because we had like the little book that was like made, and like they have like these little like where's El Chapulín and like whatnot, and so it's like an educational book. So he recognized the piñata fiesta from like the book, and so he was like, "Oh no, El Chapulín, quiero esto por mi piñata," and so just putting that all together, he just like was like, no, this is the piñata that I want. So all that being said, we've not had yet like the scary kind of like cartoony or scary movie.
I don't think we'll ever have one, honestly. Like it's not the norm.
I
Yeah.
think that's what I'm gonna lean my kid into. Like, you're scared of Jason? All right, we're gonna get you a Jason piñata, whether you like it or not. Like, that's your piñata, because you know why? At the end of your birthday, you're gonna beat the fuck out of Jason.
That's fair.
Vas a romper su puta madre, hijo.
No, I mean actually that's a great idea. Yeah, like get them be able to like combat their fears.
Yeah.
Pass me the salt.
See, that's what I'm saying, man.
I was pretty close to buying the
beer salt?
the beer
The lime?
salt. Yeah, the lime beer salt that they sell over there.
For High Life, yeah. And for Modelo, too. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah, just what I do is like when I'm at home, I'll just like and then just like fucking like just like kind of grip it around the neck of the bottle and then just like.
I mean, normally, yeah, but it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, this beer is warm. I've been drinking it for an hour. Like,
Well,
Bro,
That
I
sounds
have
like a
chamoy
you
and like salt.
we can fix this for 100%.
I have chamoy and like flaky salt, the thick one.
oh
Yeah, man.
yeah.
You free next weekend? Unrelated to the podcast, but I'm just kind of like, you need to hang out with Paco at some point.
He
Bro,
kind of has.
I mean, yeah, like so. This motherfucker over here. So, dog. So, I mean, I'm just. All right. So this is getting into like off tangent from like our, topic of the day, but also into other things that are very important to our culture. Like, and so.
Hey, bro, all the black people are gone. Like, we can do another.
Okay,
We can do another Más o Menos next week. Like, that's just what it comes down to logistically.
Hey man, no, I just gotta be told when I'm coming on. No, but So first off, shout out to Still Austin. They had a phenomenal carne asada that I've been working with Arnie all day. Arnulfo Segovia, who's a phenomenal gentleman. He's a badass. Puro 956 over here. And he just like fucking showed up 8 a.m. 6 a.m. or 6 8 whatever 7 I don't know a.m. and we just set up this whole fucking grill. But all that being said, we lost train of thought. Baco. Oh, so all this being said, I'm at work quite some time.
Parker shows up and was like, "Hey, bro, that's not how you make barbecue."
Often on days that I shouldn't be, and sometime like maybe 2-3 months ago. Here goes fucking JJ, and I'm just like, I'm running around doing some like fucking runs and making sure some other folks are being taken care of, that I'm like hosting and whatnot for a whiskey tasting. And I'm like, wait a second, I fucking know this motherfucker. And I'm just like, I'm coming from one way, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go get this over here, and I gotta go back and like say hi to this mother. And I go up and I'm like, yeah, of course, it's fucking JJ and Baco. Like, just post it up. I'm like, bro, you cannot do this shit. If you want to fucking show up, like, you have to let me know.
Bro,
I'm taking care of tabs. I'm taking care of tours. Like, I'm taking care of you everything.
I didn't know that was the thing, because I keep showing up at Still, and I'm just kind of like, "Hey, bro, you here?"
Oh yeah, that's the fucking problem. It's like you keep showing up, and it's like I get a
Hey, bro,
message.
I understand that you work like 2 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, but I work till 5.
Believe me, I fully am aware that my drinking schedule completely combats the natural human being. Like, so this is the reality. So we for instance, we got the whole thing. So we got the barbecue set up for today. And so everybody's all posted up and doing the thing, and they've got a little lull. I've got a little lull, like at about like 10 a.m. Well, I've already been there for fucking 5 hours, and I've been awake for like 6 or 7, and so I just like walk up to Philip, who's helping running the whole truck, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, Philip, like, you need more coffee, bro?" And he's like, "No, bro, like, yeah, it's like it's about to be 10:30. Like, yeah, like I already drink what I needed. Thank you." I was like, "Okay, you ready for some whiskey?" He was like, chingón, bro. But it's a little early. I was like, early? I was like, bro. And then I was like, shit. I was like, yeah, no, man. Okay, all right. I understand, like, blah, 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 whatever. And he's like, oh, pues, bro, if you've been up for a while, then I'll do some whiskey. And I'm like, okay, well, then let's fucking roll around. So, but, but that's like the reality. So, like,
I relate to that.
When we wake up and we're up at like that time and we're working and being active, like, yeah, your lunchtime's at 9.
Sam posted some memes because he was really fucking surprised about this. But I took him to hang out with my family for Thanksgiving, and like, so we showed up at 10 in the morning. And then Sam was like, "So what do we do now?" And I opened a beer at like 10:30, and he was just kind of like, "What the fuck is that?"
Oh yeah, man.
When I worked graveyard at the casino, like my shift was from 10 to 7, so everyone would ask me like, "What do you do when you get home?" I was like, honestly, like, I crack open like 3 beers and I drink them as fast as I can, and then I pass out for like 8 hours.
This is getting into a different
They lullaby
topic.
me to sleep, baby.
100%.
Yeah.
But in the Army, I definitely learned. It's just kind of like, all right, bro, you're released. You spent 2 weeks in the field at 7 in the morning. That shower beer, bro.
Oh yeah.
So I've got.
Kind of glad we didn't have an extra guest, because these are all shower beers, baby.
Nah, man. I mean, so the crazy thing is, like, for however well, I don't know. If we're however dirty us, some white people are.
Bro, I just worked like a fentanyl case today. You're good.
Okay,
You're good.
Well, so for however dirty like some white people are, it's crazy that, and I say this because lovingly, I have a lot of white friends who don't do shower beers because they're just like, what about the poop?
Water's gonna get in it.
No, because they're worried about the poop particles. I'm like, bro,
really,
what you're worried about? What?
That's such a fucking stretch.
Are you shitting in the shower, Lou?
Bro, yeah.
No, it's just exposing your ass. Like, I get it. Like, there's a little bit of poop particles, but it's not even to a point that you smell it. Like, yeah.
If you
And if
wash
you can-
your ass before you open the beer, it's fine.
Also fucking true. Also fucking true. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's wild. I don't know.
Well,
But
Anyway, yeah, back to spooky shit in
yeah,
Mexico.
spooky.
well, no. So we
Our drinking habits. That's
That's spooky. That's spooky.
Ah, man, I think I was telling TJ. It wasn't TJ, but I was telling someone the other day that I was just like, it was Rob. It was Rob who we hung out with, and I was just kind of like, there's an element that I was just kind of like, I feel bad for people that try to hang out with me.
oh, I totally ditched that girl.
No, but I feel bad that for people that try to hang out with me and drinking, because it was just kind of like, I've been in the Army. I went to Texas Tech.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Went to the Army. I went to Texas Tech. I moved to Austin. I grew up in Eagle Pass, and I'm like, I have so many drinking, like, Boy
Check
Scout
marks.
badges
Yeah, check
that I'm just kind of like,
Exactly.
yeah. And so Omar has half the badges that I do, and he's our friend that we hung out with in Dallas, and one of them is at Texas Tech, and he's tells people, like, before they hang out with him at the beginning of the night, he's like, I want you to know, under no obligation, do you need to keep up with me? Like, you just enjoy yourself tonight, and I'll take care of you. And that's what I think I need to start telling people at this
Yeah.
point.
So here,
real.
So I think I'll say this. I think there's caveats to this. So I think the people who need to give those warnings are, one, just like respect, thank you for the service, like people who've been in the military.
You Andre the
period.
Giant, you got amongst men.
No,
So-
but like period.
Omar is straight service industry in the sense that he's been a bartender since 19, and now that dude is 25.
Well, so I think that becomes the second caveat. The like real final kind of like instance is like distillers, bro. So we were up in Dallas 2 weeks ago, and we were there for the Texas Whiskey Association board meeting. We like as a kind of like coalition of 12 people in the span of 4 to 5 hours, we completely closed bottles, killed 6-ish cases of whiskey.
Not to get to something unrelated to the podcast, because this conversation happened before the podcast. I'm pretty sure I could have killed most of those podcasters on a strict, like,
Oh,
go for it.
yeah. 100%. Yeah. No, so yeah, no, there's definitely caveats. I think there's like levels to
What do they
everything.
weigh? $120 soaking wet? Like, we can do it.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I think there's also just like, I mean, besides weight classes, like we talk about like weight classes, we also have to talk about like experience. We also have to talk about like job titles, because I mean we can talk about bartenders as long as we want, but
There's also genetics into it. Like,
oh,
to a degree,
again, yeah, no, I mean, but that goes into like the body mass kind of like index and whatnot, but.
Like,
yeah,
my
it's
dad
just work.
My dad threw in the towel. He's like, I'm done. Like, I've seen the championship game, and like, I made it as far as I could. I'm out.
Yeah, nah, man.
And my mom's a real lightweight, but like, I took after my dad. What can I say?
Yeah, man. I mean,
I'm here to see the glory, Bill.
Yeah, no, it's just it depends on like, industry, genetics, like the whole fucking lot, and then but at the same time just like work, like what you're putting into it. I mean, kind of like teachers, I think I thought teachers, having been a teacher,
nurses are great drinkers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
Yes. It's just fucking wild, man. Distillers are just a fucking different breed. Like, I mean, granted, they're like the
I
fucking.
think when you can smell
you're the
it,
only.
Yeah, bro. It's just like it's
like
insane.
microdosing, bro.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Like these. Well, so speaking of microdosing, yeah. Look, so I won't get
That's
won't
some
get
Joe
into it.
Rogan for
Yeah.
your ass.
Won't get into it.
I think she.
Yeah,
I think
well-
Duchess of Destruction.
Also, won't get into it, but yeah, no, it's just like like that was like trying to be like leveled out, like when it came to that kind of like that weekend. It's like
It's funny because I'm aiming for this to be a 3-hour podcast, and it's just like we're getting there. We had 30 minutes of pre-footage of just watching the B-roll.
Yeah.
Because we were waiting for you to get here, and then we had a very interesting conversation because we need to hang out outside of work, outside of this a little bit more.
Yeah.
But to go back to Square A, which is why do Mexicans love spooky shit, and I just thought this was a good way to end it. Any experiences with the paranormal or scary stories that are like passed down, or things that you would like to
passed
share?
down.
Or that you experienced yourself? Because actually, my two are my grandpa's stories, but I'd like to interlay it where someone goes first and then I'll go second or whatever.
I mean, I can go anywhere. Right?
Go first.
Okay.
Because I feel like you'll have the best one because you have literally like
couldn't
Ghost
hit the
Grandpa
tamale
as your spirit guide.
No. So So first and foremost, I'll say this. So when I was born, evidently, my grandfather.
Is this you reading your like?
No, this is just like just like stories having passed. But so when I was born, evidently, my grandfather, my mother's. So I differentiate between abuelo and grandfather. My abuelo, who is my father's father, and my grandfather is my mother's father. My grandfather said and felt just like this energy that when I was born, he said he's going to be like either a pastor or a preacher or somebody who is important to spirituality when he grows.
So I'm. This is too dumb, but does normally work. That I break down things a lot, D&D classes, and I'm like, oh you're the
I
shaman.
Love that. No, genuinely do. Love that. I fucking love that.
Like I had a really good friend, and I was just like, you like taking care of people. You're the first one to be like, what do you need? And I'm like, you're the white mage. And I've always broken down people to that. Like,
Yeah, D&D's, man. It's wild. I
Wait, what the hell am I?
dwarf. Which I also see myself as. So
you might
it's
not
a
like
knock to you.
this, but I 100% think you're a bard.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
You're a support character that's very creative, very funny, and loves to help people out. And your biggest strength is just being able to. And it's not a bit. I'm not trying to be negative. It's just kind of like you're a good number 2. But I also see myself as a number 2. I'm not a leader of any fucking sort. Like, it's just kind of one of those things where some people are support and some people are something else. To go back to D&D, randomly, this has nothing to do with the spirituality. I think I'm a pretty good tank. I'm pretty good at life at, like, you're going to take a lot of damage that other people cannot take.
Yeah.
Because my literal job right now is just kind of like, hey, go see these babies that are just like
100%.
they're drug addicted. They're trying,
And about it. Yeah. No, definitely aware.
And I do think that everyone has different strengths. I think that Sam, who is not on this show but was earlier, has a very high charisma stat, and he's actually a pretty natural born leader because of that. I don't think he's. That's a different topic.
So long as I can multi-class to monk, I'm fine.
Well, that's the thing is that monk doesn't exist in my head just because it's a newer class in D&D.
It is a newer class, but yeah, no.
It's the same way as artificer, where it's just kind of like,
That's the one that can.
now we're in the weeds, but yeah.
What? There's guns now? Holy shit! I don't know.
there's guns now.
I don't follow D&D in any capacity, so I'm also just like naive to it.
You have a very high charisma. Mina el faja.
It's a big one too.
Jeez.
Imagine whipping.
That's not a good thing.
I don't know. Imagine being fat and whipping a kid with the extra long belt. That's so much violence.
You can get them from
What
across
am
the
I again?
room.
Necromancer?
I didn't give you a class. I gave you a stat.
What's my stat?
Very high charisma.
Sure.
So you can be a necromancer.
You still gotta play Baldur's Gate again, right? Legit murder everyone's favorite character 2 minutes in. You tried to
No,
kiss
it was
me
like
tonight.
2 hours late in.
No, the favorite character.
Yeah, Astrian. You killed him 2 hours in. It was the last thing we did.
Oh no, I'm saying like 2 minutes into meeting him.
Oh,
He tried
yeah.
to kiss me at night, and so I stabbed him in the chest with a stake. I think that's what you did, right?
He didn't try to kiss him. He tried to bite him because he's a vampire. And Sam was like, none of this in my holy land. I am a paladin.
I'm a righteous Trump supporter.
I don't want no gay vampire.
I thought about asking political questions because Trump did a thing
No,
on Univision the other day, and I was just
Oh,
like,
God.
those were great questions, but
Yeah,
I didn't.
those were layups, and he fumbled a bunch of them, bro.
But I decided not to do it because your friend didn't show up, and I'm like, we have more interesting things to talk about. So, ghosts, go.
Oh God.
Ghost Grandpa.
Where was I? Oh no, yeah. So my grandfather, so he saw me as this like person who when I was born, as like he's gonna be able to, he's gonna essentially have like the gift. He's gonna be able to see things, hear things, and so that is essentially 100%. Like I like have been. I hear, I see, I feel, I interact, like, and often, like, push, touch, poke, prod, like, just, like, fucking, just annoyed, kind of, I guess, like, is the best way to say
If
it.
you,
Like,
if you don't mind asking, as someone that doesn't have the gift, like I have no, I literally had several people that were witch-ish throughout my entire life be like, oh, you have a bubble
yeah.
throughout your entire life, which also makes sense as a paladin kind of thing. But it's just kind of like nothing can hurt you, but nothing can help you.
Yeah.
And that's what these witches said. And there was 3 different witches that are like different, like kind of things. But they were like, your ancestors cast this to protect you a long, long time ago. Like it doesn't even have anything to do with like anything immediately. Like your mom doesn't know how to do anything like
Yeah.
that.
So what I was just doing, I was like off camera just because Michael was talking. I was kind of just like doing just like little pokes, like just kind of like annoying stuff. That's how it feels. That's how it feels. So it's just kind of like every so often, like I will be working, and it kind of, because I work in a high temperature, high, honestly explosive, and high like energy and kind of like.
Oh yeah, grain likes to explode
Oh yeah,
for no reason.
yeah. So it like it's kind of annoying. It's also kind of like fuck, like what's fucking hit me. But like it is that like kind of just like touch, poke, prod, like just hair flake, like whatever. Those things. That's the normal for me. So
I have no, like I said, I have no gifts. Like somebody said that I was born in a bubble, but I have been around people,
Lucky.
witchy people that say that they do.
to an extent, right? Yeah, no, to an extent. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I have been around people that do have things like that. Like exactly how you're talking about, poke, pinch, and nod. I had one friend that saw ghosts everywhere. like I went with her to Waffle House, and she was like, "Oh, did you see that dog?" And I was like, "What the fuck? We're in a Waffle House." And she's like, "Oh yeah, and look, the ghost of her dog follows her everywhere that she goes." And I was just kind of like, "Sure."
Okay.
Because I can't see shit. Like, it literally is like, I feel like there's a veil over me. And I literally had one of my exes that was a witch be like, I can remove that. And I'm like, I don't think you should. If somebody.
Well, so to answer two different like points at the same time. So for one, like I mean, there's just, especially if you're like Latino and you have like indigenous history in your ancestry, it's like it's just gonna be there, and it's something that you just have to kind of like operate with, understand, create some kind of like camaraderie and like understanding of how to live. And if you choose, you can choose. That's the beautiful thing about it, is like if you understand that you can choose, you can choose to just like be like, hey, I don't want most of this. There's gonna be some things that you're just gonna be like, you know, our ancestors are gonna try to contact and connect with us in different ways. And sometimes there's going to be things that you can't stop and you can't turn off. But simultaneously, the beneficial thing is that for the most part, most people who can and who do have those contacts should be able to say, if you're aware of it, like, hey, like, no, like, stop, stay away, I don't want this. It also comes with the caveat of like you understanding your own like protection, whether it's like certain herbs, certain like rocks, certain crystals, certain like whatnot, and that gets into a whole different like kind of philosophy. And
I don't want to get too deep, but you do believe in like rocks and crystals, then?
To a certain extent.
Okay.
I do think that we are in the kind of like balancing of like the eagle and falcon, where we are going to see a balancing of science and spirituality. But the reality is like we do have science right now, and we should take what we can as benefit from science. But that's also something that our ancestors knew and understood. But there is going to be like there's science, you know, science is science, and we knew that because we were practicing it to a different extent.
We figured out using shadows and math that the Earth is round.
Yes, no, 100%. So we just figured it out a little differently over here than other people did anywhere else, and we figured it out honestly a little bit earlier than other people did anywhere else. But you know, there's a balance to it.
I mean, I don't want to get too in the weeds, but it's just I'm a person that I'm open to everything. Like I said, I'm molder.
Yeah.
I my conspiracy theory brain. There's a part of my brain that'll always be molder. It's like I want to believe, I just don't know until I experience it. Kind of thing.
Believe me, bro. Like I mean, I understand. I mean, and I say this as like somebody who's like, I'm what I love to call, and I've said it, I'm sure, on this podcast before, I'm a recovering Catholic. And but at the same time, I'm like, in understanding that and saying that, like, I also don't exactly totally understand like what to believe in. But I do, and I have.
I think that's exactly where I'm at today.
Yeah, and I also have allowed myself to, lack of a better term, subscribe to kind of like certain indigenous practices, where when we like my kids now, all of them, like both of them, and then the only real way that I can like, ay, vato, come on, bro, hijo.
I don't know where that came from.
My abuela. No, she's over here speaking like she said, like, you need tequila now. Holy shit. No,
I'll be good.
No, yeah, no. But you know, my kids now, like both of them, my older ones, they say like "Papá necesitas cantar," like "Bless you."
Bless you.
But they say like you need to sing to us. Bless you. So they say like you need to sing to us. Bless you. All right, that's it. You go to church. You go to church.
I'm good. I go to churches.
All right. Blow your nose. No, but so my kids say like, okay, Papa, like necesitas cantar a nosotros, and so like it's like okay, let's sing to us, and so we sing like our prayer, which is like our prayer to like Mother Earth, but also like the God particle, which is like the particle that is now scientifically being understood as like the thing that is like creation of every kind of like metaphysical and physical kind of matter, whatnot. But our ancestors knew and have passed that song down generations. And so we're at where we are now, and we're still singing this song, and the song is creating like a new life and understanding of like, hey, there's something beyond our understanding, but also something that is like very natural to what we are. And so again, it goes to what we said earlier, where my daughter's like, what happens when we go back to the earth? And it's like, who knows? But we're still here.
Well, my question, and this is just me being super practical, because like if I were to place my D&D class, sometimes it would probably be Barbarian, where it's just like, I don't know what life is. I'm just going to hit something in the face kind of thing.
Yeah.
Skeleton hand.
Well, that's also like when I talk to my friend like who's like heavily in D&D, and I have several friends who are heavily in D&D, but it's like I understand based off of work and my like type of work, I'm a dwarf, right? I'm like
so that's a race, not a class, but yes.
Well, so I'm a dwarf. Well, then I'm a dwarf, but I'm a dwarf who has like I understand animals. I talk to spirits. I have like
that would make you a druid, which is actually super accurate at this point.
There you go. Like I don't know, but
to go back to square one, and this is just where I was coming from, and I'm glad for your insight. I just don't know where the midpoint is between. Because I know you got this point. I've told you about this point, and you got really angry. But it was just like there is a midpoint between I am a person trying to understand, and I am a colonizer using all this shit and using things that I don't understand, including stones, crystals, and all this other stuff, and then you're just kind of like, yeah, those are just white bitches going to hell, kind of thing.
Well, okay. No,
that was the exact language you used.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So that is no, but I think it's because this is also what I was gonna, what I had that I wanted to say. So the reality is, when we talk about medicines that are practiced, so especially for white peoples who and this is something that I've come accustomed to learn from different elders, but also like just the reality of things is that peoples who are heavily and majority and like direct ancestry and like have grown up and completely accepted like European practice like backgrounds and cultures, you have every right to understand spirituality, but you should learn it through your ancestral spirituality. And it is because what we've been taught is that however we might as people, as indigenous people, might not be discriminatory or racist, the fact of the matter is the medicine is.
Oh.
So it doesn't matter whether Aaron Rodgers is going to fucking Peru to like practice ayahuasca. Yeah. The bottom line is he's experiencing it, but he is not going to experience his own metaphysical and like psychological like healing and whatnot as natural and as healthfully as he would is if he went back to whatever his ancestral roots were back in Europe, because we have this like everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, there's medicines that are hallucinogens that are like
would probably be that like fungus that absinthe comes from.
yeah, exactly. But like
That's why absinthe doesn't work for us. Like we took absinthe and we were like, this is bullshit.
no, but I mean, but that's the reality of it is that I guarantee, would have, if he went to whatever his indigenous and ancestral history is back from, not in a racist kind of commentary, but in the reality is wherever his ancestors came from,
where his roots
and
are.
where his roots are. Like, if you go back to where your ancestry is and you go back and experience that, that's going to be what benefits you the most.
I do have
not
a-
saying
I was
that you
using-
not saying in any capacity. Also, for anybody who like may see this down the line, not saying that you have to go back from where you came from. It's just if you experience just your ancestry and understand your ancestry and learn about history and learn your history, then that can make every fucking thing better, because we can live just as. But that's also why
soil
Mexicans
from-
and Irish peoples learned and lived so well together. That's why indigenous peoples and Irish peoples lived and understood each other so well, is because we carried each other's history, each other's ancestry so closely to ourselves, and we shared it and we understood it, that like, hey, they are in our land, they are not practicing their medicines, and they also understood we are not practicing our ancestral history, but we're going to do what we can to tend to take care of other peoples who are struggling like we are. You know, that's why we connect so well as like just peoples.
Your native
Well-
soil is going to be the most fertile. That's like
I do have a question, and then I guess after that we have to get back on track. But what do you say to people that are just like me and JJ? We're like average Mexican Americans, and I ask you specifically because you're on the other side of the coin of like, I think I know the answer, and me and JJ are just kind of like, we're people that are disconnected from our past kind of thing. But what do you say whenever we meet gatekeepers, where it's just kind of like, oh, like, I don't know, maybe we did an Ancestry.com thing. It's just like, we're straight up connected to this culture. And then it's just like, we try to connect to that culture, and people are just kind of like, fuck you, you don't speak the language, you haven't done anything, you've never even visited Maya or any of the other, like, you've never been to Chiapas or anything like that. Like, what is our go-to kind of thing? Because, like, so much about being Mexican American, specifically Mexican American, is just like, fuck it, let's create something new. And
Yeah.
I don't think spirituality at the very least works that way.
So I'll say this. Assuming, let's just say, like, crazy, like, experience, like, let's say just y'all are both, like, I don't know, 40% indigenous, right?
Yeah.
Of, like, the same.
I mean, we're
tribal
both
group.
mestizos, so same 50-50 is
100%.
not
Yeah,
crazy.
no, yeah, exactly. No, exactly. But let's just say, like, crazy, you know, like, you're 40, like, 60, whatever. 40 being, like, indigenous, and you wanted to, like, really connect with the indigeneity. The reality is, anybody who is, especially over here in the U.S., who says, like, you're not this because you didn't practice this or you didn't grow up this way, fuck them. Because they are not peoples who are trying to educate. They are gatekeepers in the sense of, like, we, for whatever reason, were privileged in the aspect of we had a way to gain and learn the knowledge, and now we see everybody else as you are lesser than and you have to earn the knowledge. And it's
Yeah.
like, no. If you are in any capacity a person who has like more than 30% like DNA and like some real like hardy like like ancestry and just also like community where like I'm either labeled as Mexicano or like darker or whatnot. Like you have every single right to just learn.
Every
and-
application I filled out, I'm like, you can pick 2 races. Okay, Hispanic, Latino, Native.
Yeah.
Those are my 2. Bro.
Exactly. So, but that's the reality is that you have every right at this point to like learn, especially if you're trying to do something that is in the betterment of your understanding of what life is, and also especially if you're trying to do something that is in the betterment of your children, you know. And at this point, that's what I'm doing, especially for my kids. All my kids, all 3 of them have names that one was given from the elders, my eldest, and then the other 2 I read theirs, and I read them, and my wife dreamt, and that's how I knew, like, it was like boom for
That's
the
the one?
latest
Yeah.
one, and then the second born, we both like saw, read, learned, and concluded on our own, like together, like yes, oh boom, that's it. So they all are meaningful, but they're all Nahuatl, indigenous names that rightfully so, like belong to them.
Well, I feel bad detracting at this point because this is a different conversation at this point. But I would like to tell, because Emiliano is leaving very quick to take a piss, a story of that my family told me, because we got to talk about spooky shit. It's October.
Yeah.
So this story is just kind of like, I don't know how to feel or digest things for the most part, because real life doesn't work this way for the most part. But I'm like I said, my family put me in a spiritual bubble where every paranormal person is just kind of like, oh yeah, your family's looking out for you, and you'll never experience the paranormal. Whereas just kind of like, I mean, even you and me and the life that we've had and other witches that have been in our life are always kind of like, oh, hey, JJ, there's a ghost protecting you kind of thing. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, sweet. And then you're just kind of like, oh yeah, like whatever. I don't know. But it's just kind of like,
The ghost following me, I kind of knew.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, actually.
So the first time I really felt it was when I was, I want to say 5 or 6. But it was the first time I learned to ride a 2-wheel bike. And so when you when you upgrade from, like, you know, training wheels or a 3-wheeler to a 2-wheel bike, it's like, oh, nothing can stop me, right? Like, I'm invincible. Nothing bad will ever happen to me.
Yeah.
So as a kid, I'm just like trying different stunts. Like, all right, there's a curb. I'm gonna jump on that. There's this like plank of wood hanging over the sidewalk. I'm gonna ride that as fast as I can. Blah blah blah. So I'm doing like all the stereotypical little kid shit. And then at the time, me and my folks and my little brother were living in a trailer, and we didn't have.
Yes, we're still on.
Yeah.
God damn.
It's an Emiliano episode. Oh, so he doesn't work tomorrow, so fuck it.
Neither do I. So
I do. I will suffer for y'all. All 21 of y'all.
Bada bing, bada boom, baby.
hey, that's more people than we can fit in our apartment. So that's good. That's great. No, yeah, but when I'm riding this rush of like I just learned how to ride a 2-wheel bike. I'm unstoppable. So I'm doing everything I can in the 2-wheel bike, and me and my folks and my brother at the time lived in a trailer, and trailers are usually elevated, right, a tiny bit, and there's usually like either a stairway or like kind of like a deck.
Oh, yeah.
We had a stairway at the time. It wasn't a huge stairway. It was like 3-4 steps. But I was like, I can ride down those stairs. I could totally ride down those stairs. Nothing bad's gonna happen to me. So I rode down those stairs, and by like step 2, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go over. Like I'm gonna fall on my face and bust my nose and my teeth.
Yeah.
They were still baby teeth, right? But I was like, I'm going to bleed from this. But on that second step, as I felt myself like kind of tilting forward, I also felt like a hand pushing down on my back tire. Like I felt like when my dad was trying to teach me to ride, holding me up. I felt that force. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't tell what it was. But it's whatever ghost is following me now, whichever ancestor I got, whatever my stand power is.
Nah, man. I mean, so yeah, I think one of the scariest, and I wouldn't say scariest, but it was just like
On certain like weird moments.
so. Hellhound.
Yeah.
We know about the Hellhound. So
Yeah.
in front of, and it's an interesting thing now because it's in front of the room where now we like live in the family house that I grew up in. But it was a moment, and I say Hellhound just because it's like other people have described it as Hellhound. I don't think it was Hellhound.
It's a dog with fiery eyes. That's a hellhound.
I guess.
You tell me what you saw.
Well, okay. So, point being, I remember blatantly one day, 8th grade, I was leaving the house to go to school, and for anybody who lives in Austin, I live in the east side, 10th Street area, and I went to Keeling Middle School, so not far. But in front of our house, walked past our normal kind of garden area, and turned right, just to get to the car. Turned like right again just to look back to where the garden would have been, that would be in front of like the room that we now live in, and like huge dog that easily. So I've also unfortunately not grown much since 8th grade. Huge growth spurt.
Which one of us has?
Yeah, huge growth spurt. Yeah, so I was like 5'6". I'm now 5'8". But I was 5'6" in 8th grade, and this dog was towering over me. Looked like Doberman, but just the jettest of jet black dog with red eyes. Just was like kind of in the laying down position. I met eyes with it. It jumped up and just bolted. And that was it. This is the last time I ever saw it. But that was probably the moment that I just like finalized in myself that was like, okay, I can see things that people don't. And
Did no one else see a giant fucking wolf?
oh, my mom walked out of the house as the dog, to me, was running around the corner. And I was like, just like, I felt like I would have been like, what they say is like turned white. I just like was like, what the fuck did I see? And my mom was just like, what's going on? And I'm just like, you didn't see the dog? Like, what are we doing? And she's just like, no, get ready. Like, get in the car. And I'm just like, okay, cool.
That would be a super fucking unsettling feeling to me.
Oh, it was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The following year was also a win. However, I felt that there was most likely something that has happened Juneteenth ish in our house, our family house, because every year since then, 2-3 a.m. ish, obviously like witching hour or whatever. But I think just like it's timing of when whatever did happen, you can hear things in the house very clearly, very blatantly, like walking, running around circles. And yeah, that's a whole thing. But
I kind of.
I asked you for one story, and you've told me 5 already.
I don't know, man.
I had a similar-ish. It wasn't a dog though for me. This could be explained as like my child brain trying to process divorce because my parents are still together.
Yeah.
But one of my uncles got divorced, and he had already, had a kid with his wife, and he's my cousin, and I love him. But he was one of the cousins that I would see like the least out of all of them. So whenever we came to Austin, because that's where he's from, I was like, oh, we're going to see Jay. So, in my head, like my dad or my mom says, yeah, we're going to Austin in the weekend. Oh, we're going to see Jay. We're going to see my cousin. Cool. But this was after my uncle got divorced and Jay wasn't staying with him. Staying with his mom that weekend or whatever it was, but I distinctly remember walking into the apartment and seeing what looked like my cousin, but he was wearing clothes that I had never seen him in before. Like my cousin would always dress like in button-ups. That's the way his mom would always dress him, and he was wearing like plain t-shirt kind of thing, like just a plain white tee and khakis. And then he like disappeared. But like as soon as the door opened, I saw him, and then he like kind of evaporated into like the chimney or whatever. Like he would disappear into like the ether. And
Ooh, that's a whole another series of like.
I was gonna say that's
yeah, no, like my uncle caught me like looking under his sofa and stuff, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm looking for Jay because I saw him. Like he was hiding around here."
oh, bro.
And he's
Yeah, don't hear.
"No, he's not here at all. Here, why don't you play this computer game I downloaded?"
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So, my grandpa has 2 horror stories that have always freaked me out because my grandpa is one of the meanest, toughest people that I ever met in my life. So it's
and
very
when those motherfuckers hear or see shit, bro. That's it.
Yeah.
That's when you know it's like bah, bah.
Well, he also had like so many stories that were just kind of like, and then I heard this noise, and I was like, but it was the pendejo down the road or some shit like that. Like, he knew how to rationalize most shit, and there was certain shit that he couldn't rationalize, and I was just kind of like...
So, I think I have like a partial bubble, because I have spider sense. Like, there have been times where I'm like, something's bad's gonna happen if I stick around here. Like, my job at the casino is one of the prime examples. I quit technically, like on paper, and if you like look at my record and everything, if you have that kind of ability, you'll see that I quit the casino. I wasn't fired,
Yeah.
but I had already been kind of thinking about quitting, but at the same time, I was like, this is a really good paying job. I'm good at it. I don't hate it. I just hate the hours. If I wait out the people that, are better ranked than me.
Shit.
Yeah. That have been around longer than me. Not even. Like, some of them were really good. It's just like, if I wait these people out, if they find better opportunities or whatever it may be, like, I'll get the schedule that I want. Like I just have to wait another 2-3 years. But for whatever reason, one day I came in, I was like, this is it. This is the day I quit. I'm done. And it was like a slow day. Nothing bad had happened. That nothing that would piss you off and be like, fuck this, I'm out. Like, I didn't have that moment. It was a slow day. It was calm. It was peaceful. And I was just like, I'm out. I'm done. This is the day I quit. And so I turned in my letter of resignation. And I was like, okay, I'm out. I'm done. And that was like a Wednesday. The Saturday before, the weekend of that Wednesday, there was an issue with a jackpot where some of the paperwork wasn't filled out right, and they were basically like going
I didn't
down.
even know there was paperwork to a jackpot.
There,
Honestly.
yeah, no. So
Also fair. Also fair.
anything over $999.99, you have to report to the IRS.
Okay.
So
All right.
that's why if you go to Vegas, there's a bunch of jackpots that are for like $999 because you don't have to report that.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, any jackpot
Interesting.
that's over that amount, any jackpot that's a grand or over, any amount, really, you have to report that to the IRS. So that means that there's paperwork involved. That means that, you can opt to pay your taxes right then and there when you win the jackpot, but the casino takes a cut.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't opt for that option because it's like if you just handle your own shit, if you save 15% of that jackpot, just pay the 15%. That's what the government takes out. Whereas the casino is going to take 20, 25. Not worth it. Just hold on to those $500 and pay the government their due. But there was an issue where a jackpot was printed out for the wrong amount, where something in the paperwork was fudged, but the paperwork was printed out correctly. Everything looked on the up and up, so everyone down the line paid it out.
Yeah.
Like this all looks legit. This is all clear. Cool. So it was paid. I was the banker that paid that. Like ultimately it came down to me. Like the cashier paid the jackpot.
Yeah.
The floor attendant printed out the tax records, gave them to the cashier signed off on them, paid out the money, and I was the one that when the cashier turned in her box, yeah, this all looks right. You balance out. I shouldn't have balanced her out. Like I should have reviewed that paperwork again, and she wouldn't have balanced out. Although, like, at the same time, like, really? You paid out, like, 20 jackpots. I'm not reviewing each one individually. Like,
Yeah.
but I was... My signature was on that. And they were going down the line. Fire this guy, fire this guy, fire her, fire her, fire her. I was going to be the last one on that totem pole. But I came in that Wednesday and I was like, no, today I quit. This is it. This is my last day. And... when I went back Thursday, because I turned in like my resignation letter Wednesday, and I was like, I'll give you 2 weeks notice, like, but this is it, like, I'm out after 2 weeks. When I went in the next day, the supervisor was like, we're going to accept your resignation effective today. We're not firing you. Your resignation's effective today.
Okay. Just to get paid for the other 13 days?
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Just take the money and run.
Yeah.
Shit.
And it was just one of those things where, like, my spider sense went off that day, and I was like, this is it. This is the day I quit.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, and for whatever reason, like those, like, yeah, we talk about, again, just spirituality or metaphysics or whatever it is, like ancestral, like whatever you want to believe in. It's just like sometimes those feelings just kind of just run through you and say, hey, yeah, this is it. And definitely been there.
It's Prey. It's that scene in Prey where he's like, "This is the end of the line. This is where my run runs out."
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, guys, I do thank you all for coming out tonight. This has been a Mas Menos episode.
Kinda.
Almost a more.
Mas
but almost.
Menos.
Awesome, man. Oh, God, damn it. You beat me to it. Fuck. You beat me to it. Shit.
But I hope you all had fun.
Damn. That's good.
Join us Tuesday for Commitment to Excellence, where we'll be talking about. Already, I was fucking wrong. I picked the Saints to win, but
Hey, we'll take it, baby. Go Broncos.
have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night, everybody.
Saludos. Oh.